If you do not want to change,
You know who it is by now, right?
if you do not want to better yourself, if you do not want to break outside of this matrix, if you want to live in your comfortable delusion that they have built for you, do not watch these videos. Leave this channel. If you do not want any truth, don't want to understand, if you are not here to hear something that's outside of your own mind and accept others' minds and opinions and the way they think for themselves, you do not belong here. And finally, if you are not trying to be positive, if you are not trying to help create solutions while we discuss the problems and how they got here, you do not belong here. Negativity, hate, disrespect, name calling, those things will not be allowed here on this platform. And not in this empire. We are the ones, the true Americans, that want to be free and stand as we have always stood.
Got the new car. Now I'm flying the plane. Career was always in my sights, so I see it clear, and then you know I'ma fly to my next destination, cause driving taking too long, man. I gotta save time. Since time is money, I'm finna stay rich cause I'm young. Well, I'm 33 and I'm still looking 20 like dumb. Oh, everybody on a nigga like Top Gun, so when I bust out my pistol, you know I'm shooting off some. No, I'm silly. Silly, gilly, giddy, gritty, a nigga greedy, so damn, I greet them and I go, I ain't even trying to wait on niggas cause they be moving too slow, so let me go around cause you know that sound when I come through, bam, bam, a nigga down, ham, all day, you knew who it was, so get it up. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Cop the new car, now I'm flying them planes. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Cop the new car, now I'm flying the plane. Get into it. Everybody that's here, I appreciate you. If you were working today, thank you for working. Thank you for putting in this work that you did today. You helped make the world go round. All right. And then the people that did overtime, we appreciate you. Without you, everything would stop. All right. Now let's go ahead and give all the love to all the people out there being great parents and all the people that are motivating and having, good Samaritan, man, just helping other people. Remember this. Well, I want to do a shout out to everybody that's actually doing positive work. Because that's something we're going to get onto. All right? We definitely need to make sure we are motivating people to want to be better. All right? Any chance you get, make sure you are giving that kudos. Give those kudos. All right? Make sure you show that love and let people know. You gotta let them know. You gotta let them know. Because they don't know. A lot of people don't know that they're cared about. They don't know that they're appreciated. And they don't know it's okay to be good, to be cool, to be legit. Everybody has been getting praised so much for so long for being evil, that being evil is normalized. Because people are getting praise from it. And then if you're being good, right, and you're not getting any praise, you're not getting any reward from it, it doesn't feel as satisfying as when everybody is in awe of the evil you have done. I know, it's a little weird, but that's where feelings, emotions, and all this stuff start to play with you.
because different names of feelings and emotions are actually different names of demons and mindsets and principles. So we need to take all this into consideration when we're actually trying to talk about something bigger. A lot of people don't even know what bigger is. How can you be bigger if you don't even know how small you really are? But the realization is hard to come by. A lot of people can't even fathom the fact that they are not as godly as they try to represent themselves to be. Until people see their own blood, they feel immortal. Some of us embrace it, you know, because blood. When it comes to humans, blood is meant to be spilled. That's its purpose. There is no in between. It sucks that we don't have more. It sucks that we don't have more love in general. Like pain, hatred, more things on the negative side, wrath, disappointment. These things are in a mass abundance because the world is full of horrible decisions. And we have made nothing but horrible decisions. There was one man that may have made a decent decision, and you know, he didn't even consider himself as good. He says only the Father is good. So for us to try to say that we're good people or a good person, I mean, that's a pretty huge stretch when Jesus wouldn't even call himself a good person, and none is good but the Lord Father. So there may have even been a tinkling of sin within his flesh that he knew about, which is why he had to resist at all costs. But then you have the Spirit of God in you, so you have this mental and spiritual strength that surpasses mind over matter, right? So it surpasses the physical, so you can tell yourself, no, I'm not hungry, and not eat for 40 days, which is hard, okay? I think I lasted maybe 3 or 4, and I had to get a snack, all right? So I'll tell you, the body is strong. Sometimes the body is so strong, it can break down your mentality. It can break down your spirit. If the body is treated in a way, and you know, if it's treated in a certain way, it will have the reverse effect that spirit and mind over matter would have over that same effect. So if the body is being treated, it can then affect the mind, and that can in turn scratch and attack your spirit, which is what we call trauma. Okay. Trauma. Okay. You can have physical trauma, sure. Awesome. Well, not so awesome, but sure, you can have physical trauma. Okay. Physical trauma is something that is available. It is abundant. It is in the natural laws of things. If something bites you, if a leech attacks you, if you get sick, anything like that, these things are those physical elements, the negativities that we were talking about earlier. These right here attack the body, okay? And by attacking the body, there's an attempt to affect the mind. If the mind gets affected or infected, okay, for example, you get a virus and it turns into a brain virus. Now it's going to your brain. That in turn messes with your spirit. If you don't have control over your own brain, how could you say internally that you love Jesus, right? Or that you have some sort of spiritual faith or something like that if you don't have that mentality to think about and process that information? Okay? So parasites, illnesses, all these things that affect the brain, in turn, it can make you lose your way, which is why they have designated this Islam stuff as a mental illness in China. That's crazy talk. That's crazy work right there. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty circular right here, because when we look at how we deal with people, how we interact with people, you know, I go on panels. I was just on a panel You know what I mean? We all have met people in person. You know, we go through things with people we meet, you know, and what we want to establish when we're meeting people or when we're dealing with new people, we want to establish rapport. A decorum of such is something that we have to have, mannerisms and things like this. So that way we can build bridges, come to common grounds, so we can build upon those common grounds together, you know. There is a misconception that there is a right and wrong, okay? There's not a right and wrong, there is truth and lies, okay? The truth is what you would consider as right, and the lies is what you would consider as wrong. And the reason why I use the example of lies is because when we're lying to other people, we're also lying to ourselves. You know that, right? Not only are you giving somebody else a falsehood, but you yourself are believing that falsehood to be true when you tell somebody it, which is why people tend to forget the lies they tell. Because when they say something, people usually, when they speak, they usually mean what they say and say what they mean, usually, unless there's ulterior motives, okay? I'm putting it out there. I'm putting down that I believe people not only suck, okay, but they will trick you into believing that they don't suck just to make themselves feel like they're right. We were talking about this on a different panel too. People that want to feel like they're right. Me, I'm not trying to be wrong. But if I am wrong, shit happens. And that's how I have to learn. I have to learn from it. Okay? And that's something that we learn as a man. And when women go around saying they're always right and little silly things like that, it's incomprehensible. It's not logical. The ration isn't there because we have to remember that, hello guys, life be lifing, and humans are humans, and men do things women do, and women do things men do as well. But we are definitely different. We are not the same. Of course, right? And that's why there's a double standard for each side. And each side gets complaints about their double standard. Oh, guys think they can just hump on any female they want. Okay, yeah, whatever. The female has to give it up though. So remember, is he humping her or is she letting him? Interesting. Now that goes back on women. But women get to have babies. They get to have babies, and it don't matter who the daddy is. She gets to have a family. And any dude that likes her is going to have to deal with her and whatever family she has. So women have their double standards and men have their double standards. There's not a lot of double standards for men, but the ones that they're trying to point out are actually women's double standards. The only thing a man can do is literally hunch 3 girls in a day, maybe more, and they can all end up pregnant. That's about the only thing he can do. But why would he do that? So each of those females can try to hunt him? No! Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. So when they try to use that excuse, they just want to pump and dump and leave you with the babies, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. Y'all let them niggas do that because y'all think y'all finna keep him by having him, like, you allow him to bust in you, period, okay? You didn't have him marry you before you gave up the guts, all right? You didn't do nothing on your behalf to protect yourself, but you thought allowing him to bust a nut inside of you was gonna help you keep him. That's what you thought. Without thinking about, oh, if I have a baby with this dude, is he just gonna bounce? But if you had a thought about it, well, I know he's attractive. I know he wants to, have sex, right? But do you know he wants to stay with you and raise that baby too? Do you know if he wants to marry you and be bound with whatever religion you guys have? You know what I'm saying? Do you know that about him? That's from the female perspective. From the male perspective, you gotta think about it this way. Okay, you know you like her. You know you want to hump on her for as long as she'll let you, right? Then you know, okay, I'm gonna have to pay some bills, and then you know, if she gets pregnant, I'm gonna have to take care of that baby. But what you don't know is who else she's doing that with. Because women, yeah, they can only have one baby, but if they have multiple dudes, she can utilize that baby for all kinds of trickery. Oh, it's your baby, blah, blah, blah. And she can say that to 3 different dudes. And now all them dudes is giving her money. You see? See how this shit is double standards everywhere. All right? So trust is something that we have to build. Trust is something that we have to build. That brings us to our topic. You know, are we just accepting low quality bullshit? You know, low quality everything made in China. Fucking dude, like, are we just accepting low quality, or are just people stupid? Like, are people stupid because they're accepting the lies and the cheap bullshit, and they're not holding our government to a higher standard? They're not representing their God, with quotations, in the right manners, because we all have actions. Who's being held accountable for these actions? Who's actually holding themselves accountable for their own actions? This is the situation that we're actually in. You try to give them new information like, hey, marriage, we gotta look at it differently. You try to give somebody information like, hey, our government is looking at us a certain kind of way, so we have to act differently when dealing with them. Look at the corporations. We accept minimum wage bullshit because we allow them to go around the back door and hire people that'll work for less. The most desperate, these corporations, capitalism, all the institutions that we have today, they're not racist against your skin color. They are classist against your poverty level versus your, you know, your enrichment level. Like how much do you got? Because if you have more money, right, you start to have more doors open for you. You start to get more information, and then you start spending your money different. Unless you're close to those doors and you're not paying attention to those opportunities, then you'll continue to live in the squalor no matter how much money you have. You can be a millionaire and still be living like you're broke because you're not utilizing the money in the proper way. I mean, we already established on yesterday's episode, money is an IOU. It's not even real. People flexing, oh, I got 1 billion IOUs. Like, okay, but if all those people were just like, nah, we ain't giving you shit, then you got 1 billion nothings. And this is all full circle. The realization that people are not who they say they are, and when you actually get to know them, they're more complex. They're sneakier than you could have ever thought. Even the nicest person you know is sneaky. Okay? They have their own level of cunning. The floor is open, the door's open. Anybody want to come up, that's cool. But I would always bring us back to, are we just accepting low quality? Which is why I don't have a lot of friends. I don't have a lot of people. I don't have a lot of nothing. Except I do have these IOUs, and I'm putting them to work, but it's just more IOUs. It's not really anything that I can like. I can't live on it. I can't eat it. I can't breathe it or drink it. It's like it doesn't sustain me. It sustains the society around me. All these IOUs keep everybody else bound by a contract, so they can't just pick up and move because these IOUs they gotta pay them all back because they owe so many people. This is a debt economy. I know it's full circle. It's crazy. It's a lot. People would say it's controversial. I don't even believe it is controversial, because when we walk down the logical path, you end up at a fork in the road. You're either going this way with it or you're going that way with it. And in your eyes, either path could be right or wrong. In my eyes, it could be the opposite or the same. But you're going to come to that fork in the road and you're going to have to make a choice. Yeah, that's freedom. Being able to choose. Even though you're seeing everybody go down this other path on the right, you can choose to go left. Or vice versa. Everybody's going left, you can go right. You know what I mean? Which way do you want to go? Because for you, that's the only thing that you can call freedom, is your ability to choose. But if everybody's going left and they're like, nah, you can't go right. You have to go left or else. Now your choice has been stripped from you. Now you have no freedom. All right? Freedom of will, free will is just freedom of choice to choose. And if you don't have the freedom to choose, then you don't have free will. That's really it. Because there's nothing else that's free. Everything else you have to work for it. But you get to choose for free. Your choice might cost you, but at least you get to decide how much you finna pay. Yeah, I know, right? Hey, they ain't paying attention. That's why most niggas is broke. Oh shit, I'm over here cooking. My bad. Oh, stop. This shit's funny, guys. But to all the haters out there, to anybody that has put you down in your life, anybody that wants to be negative to you when all you did was be positive, you're trying to grow. Fuck them niggas. Fuck them out. They ain't doing nothing for you anyway. So we can't even be upset about it. All we can do is let heathen be heathen. You feel me? You try to make it right with your brother, but homie don't want to kick it. Fuck them. What can we say, right? We got shit to do. We got too many IOUs. You know what I'm saying? Keep track of that debt. Yeah, we about to get into some videos here shortly, you know, but I just want to give this one to everybody that's here, you know what I'm saying? This is
I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud.
Yes, we are the winners. We make the nation proud. We already did everything we could to stop the war. We came up with the 29-page plan. We were supposed to pass that off to the senator today, but I got distracted with a few things, and I'm just, whatever. I'm just going to let everything burn right now. Now that they're asking me for it, I'm going to let them wait till I feel like it. How about that? How about I just let everything burn for a little while? Because y'all didn't want to take me seriously when I was trying to make moves. Ban me from X and shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck y'all. Give me 5 minutes. We're going to do this on my time now. All right. The president gave another 2 to 3 weeks, right, for the war, right, for objectives and shit. Oh, there's a deal, right? But he has a 15-point deal, right? But see what I'm saying? My original point deal was like 14, 15 too. Like, you know what I mean? That was the original. And I sent that one off to all their emails and shit. So this was the cool part. Now I had to revise it a little bit because I felt like there was something off on it, blah blah blah. So we kept working with the plan. It actually turned into 29 pages instead of 15. So at least they're thinking about something. That puts the world in a better place. I mean, we're trying to do everything we can to have peace in the world, promote prosperity, and to try to work with our neighbors or our neighborhoods or our communities to let other neighborhoods, cities, states, countries, let them all know that we're in this together. And to work together is something that's hard. I know what I'm saying, it's hard to swallow. Don't nobody want to hear the shit I'm saying. I'm Mr. Positive and Mr. La La Land and shit, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to Hypothetical Village. Hypothetical Imagination Village, you feel me? Where people are unicorns. The clownage is real, you know what I mean? Anytime somebody doesn't want to accept what you say, the first thing they're gonna do is either tell you you're wrong, tell you you're stupid, or try to insult you or something like that. The second thing they're gonna do is they're gonna try to overpower the way you're thinking with what they're saying and provide extra logic and try to conflate your idea with their idea to try to make it seem like your idea is minimal and it's already included in their idea. But if your idea actually has nothing to do with their idea, or it's the complete opposite, you have to remind them that you can see their perspective, because seeing their perspective is what they want you to do. Now, understanding that their logic and everything or whatever they're coming up with is sound, or reminding them that, hey, this part is missing, and then you go back to your idea and see and show them, walk them down their same logic using your idea, that's gonna make them mad. You'll probably have somebody cuss you out and leave, or you might have to leave because they just go into a full-out rage. All right? Disagreements are really hard to have. Conversations are even harder to have, because you might not want to hear something somebody's got to say, but you gotta listen. You gotta listen. If you don't listen, what's the point of talking to somebody, right? Conversation becomes pointless. So, cool part. We're gonna get updated right now. We're gonna see what's up with these with this war and whatnot. Let me go ahead and pull this thing real quick. But we gotta stay on top of it. We gotta continue to open our eyes. We have to be ready. There's the homie CM Streamathon right there. But this was 4 hours ago. Freedom Inside, what is this? Okay, the Muslim war. Whoa, we gotta see, hold on. Let's see what they talk about.
Muslims walked into Christian churches in Brooklyn and Spain across the West and announced it out loud on camera. We are converting this church into a masjid. Another speaker adds, we will bring Sharia to you. Not a whisper, not a rumor, said into a microphone. But here's what they didn't see coming. Christians started throwing them out, and the pushback spreading right now is making headlines nobody in mainstream media wants to touch. A church in Spain was burned to the ground by a North African man out of pure contempt. Look, the consequences landing on the groups behind these moves are severe, documented, and accelerating fast. What happened next inside those churches will make your jaw drop. The real issue here is what happens when particular activists, preachers, or political organizers start saying they want Islamic rules to shape public life, public institutions, and...
All right, so, okay, see, for me, when it comes to this whole Islam movement and the Sharia thing, first of all, I don't think Sharia is a good idea. I think it is not only bad for the community, but the whole anti other people's religion, or trying to label someone as an infidel because they don't believe in what you believe, I feel like that's taken a little bit too far. Not only is that provoking, you're basically saying that in certain ways that your religion allows you to hurt other people for not believing in your religion, and your God's okay with that. I'm not partial to that kind of bullshit.
and even spaces that belong to other traditions. That is where people draw a line, and they should. Sharia, in this context, means religious law drawn from Islamic teaching. The conflict is simple. Do churches stay churches? Do laws stay civil? And do citizens live under one shared system? Or does organized pressure slowly turn public life into a contest over religious dominance? That matters to Christians, to secular voters, to parents, to taxpayers, and to anyone who thinks sacred spaces and civic rules should not be treated like open territory for ideological expansion. And before anybody starts with the usual fake confusion, no, criticizing that agenda is not anti-Muslim. It is anti-coercion. Big difference. If somebody wants to worship peacefully, live peacefully, and respect the same legal framework as everybody else, fine. If somebody openly says the Constitution is the
Yo, homie's cooking right now. Homie's cooking right now. You hearing that? Are y'all hearing this shit? Your boy was cooking.
temporary obstacle, and the long-term goal is religious rule. That is a political problem. Once that gets said out loud, people stop hearing diversity and start hearing power project. And honestly, that is a perfectly rational reaction. Some people making this case use language that is wild, emotional, and meant to hit like a truck. Still, the reason they keep bringing up old Christian landmarks is pretty obvious. Sacred spaces are never just buildings. They are memory, identity, continuity, a people's sense that their world still belongs to them. And Hagia Sophia sits at the center of that whole argument because for many Christians, it became the ultimate symbol of what conquest looks like when it is not just military, but civilizational.
Quran and Sunnah, which is Sharia. We will
If there is a contradiction between the Constitution and Sharia.
Yes. The way that we will deal with that, inshallah, is through the electoral process. We will run candidates, inshallah, wherever Muslims live, and inshallah, we'll get
You're not the majority.
No, that's what I'm saying. We will have, inshallah, not yet, but we will have. That's why I'm running for commissioner. That's why, inshallah, we need more Muslims in commissioners, senators, congressmen, whatever, political, in cities, in the big government, small government,
In Dearborn, they already have control.
Yeah, Dearborn, where are you going now?
You'll see in Dearborn, they already have control over the city.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible. It just will take time. That's why the strategy is a long term.
And you're hearing it from their own mouths. Okay, they even have lands they control. They have all these other places where they could go and do this and live, but they're deciding to spread this all over the world. They're choosing to come to where you live and change your ideology, your culture to theirs.
So this is what we're doing. So we're praying at churches now. That's what we're doing, Sheikh.
Wow, astaghfirullah. Look at the brothers lining up at the church.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. So where are we, man? We at the church? Y'all praying at the church? No. Y'all praying at the church? What are we doing here, man? Why have we gathered here? Okay, mashallah. We're going to convert the church into a masjid. Okay. That was scaring me for a minute.
Get the khutbah, حبيبي. Get the khutbah. يلا إن الحمد لله. Beginning stages.
So it sounds like they're just gonna run in there with numbers, overwhelm whoever's in that church, annoy them enough so they'll leave, because the Christians will do that. They'll leave. They won't push those people out. They'll just get up and leave, and that'll ruin everything. And that's the thing I don't like about the Christians right now, the ones that are being looked at and are in the news. They're pussies. I'm not gonna lie, they're a bunch of pussies.
That is why Hagia Sophia still carries such force in these debates. The old accounts people cite describe massacre, desecration, slavery, and humiliation inside a church that had stood for centuries. Whether someone quotes it with restraint or with a flamethrower, the point lands the same way. When a sacred place is seized as a trophy, people do not experience that as peaceful coexistence. They experience it as domination. That memory is exactly why church encroachment stories trigger such a strong response today. Because to Christians, it does not feel like some quirky multicultural remix. It feels like a warning from history that sacred boundaries, once surrendered, are very hard to restore. And no, that does not mean every modern dispute is literally 1453 with smartphones. Let's stay serious. But the emotional logic is obvious. If one side treats your holy places as symbols to repurpose, joke about, or absorb, you are not being hysterical when you get defensive. You are noticing the symbolism for what it is. People understand insult. They understand territory. They understand when something cherished is being turned into a statement. Then the story moves from history to present-day political intent. And this is where the smiling language really matters. Because the sales pitch is never, we want equal freedom and mutual respect. It becomes, we need more office holders, more leverage, more time, and then we can steer policy our way. That is not a spiritual testimony. That is an electoral strategy with a religious endgame.
And they want to show us morality? You want to teach me how to be refined? Excuse me, you are the ignorant and I am the knowledgeable. Please step aside, because the last hope for America is in Islam. We are the ones that will remind them of the truth. We are the leaders of the world. We are the masters. We are the teachers. Don't worry about the filet mignon and the unseasoned chicken of the white man that colonized our lands. We will bring Sharia to your chicken.
What the fuck did he just say? Yo, that's crazy. Oh man, he said we gonna bring Sharia to your chicken. Oh damn, he coming for y'all chicken. Oh damn, not the chicken. Not Sharia chicken. That's crazy work. Sharia chicken, man.
We will bring spices into your kitchens, mashallah, for you to be welcomed into the wonderful world of the non-colonized cuisine. Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi Palestine, Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi Gaza, Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi Sudan, Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi Afriqa, Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi Kashmir, Allahumma anjil mustad'afina fi mashariq al-ard wa magharibiha ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma al'an as-sahayinati al-mu'tadin, Allahumma alayka bihim fa innahum la yu'jizunak. Allahumma.
There it is.
There are so many reasons.
That's crazy work. That's a whole nother level of crazy. That is a whole nother level of crazy. So I don't even know how to feel about this right now.
Hidden, not coded. He is openly talking about getting more Muslims into positions of influence so Quran and Sunnah can shape public outcomes. And when a conflict with the Constitution comes up, the answer is basically keep working the system until the numbers change. People are free to run for office. That is not the issue. The issue is using democratic access as a tool to move society towards sectarian rule. That is the part citizens are supposed to object to, loudly. And notice how calmly it is framed. Very patient, very procedural, very inshallah in due time. That is what makes it more unsettling, not less. Nobody is ranting on a street corner in a tinfoil helmet. It is presented like a perfectly respectable long-range plan. A little local power here, a few offices there, influence over schools, city boards, commissions, maybe more later. Oh good, so not a threat, just a timetable. Wonderful. When people hear that, they are not overreacting by asking where the line is supposed to be. They are doing the bare minimum required of a self-governing society. And once political control is treated like step one, symbolic control is never far behind. That is where the church issue hits harder. A church is not interchangeable with a conference room, a cafeteria, or a gym. It is sacred space. So when somebody starts acting like it can be casually used, rebranded, or even joked about as future mosque property, people hear something much bigger than simple convenience.
The word, and with a decree of yours, you will annihilate them. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, you annihilated. And you destroyed the likes of Ad and Thamud and Fir'aun. These are the Fir'auns and the Ad and Thamud of today. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, we ask you, Ya Allah, destroy them. Destroy them, Allah. Take them off the service of this earth. Ya Arhamar Rahimin, Ya Akram al-Akramin.
They are praying for us to be removed. That would be every believer in Jesus Christ. That would be every person that doesn't believe in their religion and every atheist. They want us gone.
الإسلام أعز المسلمين وأذل المشركين اللهم انصر عبادك الموحدين اللهم انصرهم على القوم المجرم أحصهم عددا اللهم قتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم
اللهم يا ربنا إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك اللهم إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك اللهم انصرهم يا رب العالمين اللهم انصرهم على أعدائهم يا رب العالمين اللهم عليك باليهود والنصارى.
That is the nerve, not the fact that someone prayed. The message around it, the swagger, the implication that a church can become a stage for somebody else's ideological performance. Once the language shifts to we're converting the church and people laugh about it, the problem is no longer private devotion. It becomes territorial symbolism. And that is why Christians push back. They are not defending drywall. They are defending meaning. If Christians walked into a mosque and joked about taking the place over, every newsroom in the Western world would suddenly rediscover the concept of sacred offense. There would be think pieces, emergency panels, stern lectures, the full deluxe package. But when it runs the other way, somehow the public is expected to act like this is all harmless and nobody should notice. Sorry, no. Sacred respect is either mutual or it is a racket. That brings us to the broader cultural point. People can tolerate a lot when they believe the deal is live and let live. They become much less tolerant when the mood changes from coexistence to replacement. And that is exactly why stories about old churches getting turned into mosques sting so sharply, especially in places with a deep Christian history.
اللهم عليك بهم فإنهم لا يعجزونك وعليهم يا رب العالمين اللهم نصرك الذي وعدت على القوم الكافرين.
Allahumma destroy all the enemies of Islam. Allahumma destroy all the enemies of Islam. May Allah destroy them completely and show in us the great signs of Allah in their utter destruction, annihilation, humiliation.
عليك بالأمريكان ومن والاهم اللهم احصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
يا رب اللهم اقتلهم بددا اللهم احصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا يا
And that reaction makes total sense. A church from the 1860s is not just a nice old structure with cool windows and damp stone. It carries the memory of baptisms, funerals, holidays, families, the whole chain of local continuity. So when people are told to treat that loss like a neutral property transaction, they do not buy it, because it is not neutral to them. It feels like a visible marker that the old culture is receding and the new one is confident enough to occupy its symbols. Now, to be fair, buildings get sold, cities change, communities shrink, grow, move around, all true. But symbolism still matters. When the building in question is a historic church and the replacement announces a different civilizational direction, locals are not crazy for seeing more than real estate. They are reading the social meaning of the moment. Human beings do that all the time, usually correctly. Then you get the chest-thumping rhetoric, and this is where the mask really slips. Because now it is not even about law, patience, or gradual influence. It becomes triumphalist talk. This is our country. Every land is Allah's land. If you do not like Muslims being everywhere, then go to hell. That is not the language of shared citizenship. That is the language of ownership.
Back up!
Yo, this is wild. This is wild right here. They got these female officers ready to tase and spray these females, bro. This is crazy.
And once somebody says that, the pushback is automatic. This is not your country, this is our country. Really, that is the pitch, not partnership, not constitutional loyalty, not equal membership under one civil order. Ownership, that is exactly the sort of rhetoric that turns a drifting concern into a political backlash overnight. Because people hear very clearly that tolerance is being interpreted as weakness, and hospitality is being interpreted as surrender. And this is the part some activists still do not understand. The more openly they talk like conquerors, the faster they create resistance. Christians defend churches more aggressively, voters pay closer attention to local offices, parents start asking harder questions, citizens become less willing to hand institutions over to people who openly describe those institutions as future instruments of religious power. That is not fear-mongering. That is social self-preservation kicking in. The cleanest way to think about all of this is also the fairest. Do not judge an entire faith community by the loudest zealot. Judge the zealot by what he says. Judge the organizer by the policies he wants. Judge the activist by whether he respects shared civil life or treats it as a temporary shell to be filled with sectarian control. Same standard for everyone. If a Christian movement said civil law should bend to theology, people would object. If a secular ideology tried to erase everybody else's institutions, people would object. Islamist political ambitions are not special and do not get a free pass.
Wants to put a Muslim ban. He wants to ban Muslims. We will tell him, this isn't your country to ban. This is the land of Allah, as every land is the land of Allah. And there are Muslims here that are going to be here. And if you don't like it, I would suggest he goes somewhere else. But I don't know where he's going to go. If he goes back to Europe, a lot of Muslims in Europe, I've been there recently. You go to Africa, you go to South America, you go to China, you go to Malaysia, you go to Japan, you go to the Antarctic, there's Muslims. So I would make a suggestion. If he wants to go somewhere where there's no Muslims, I suggest he goes to hell. And know that our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given us.
Yo, this is. Yo. You hear this guy? Do you hear this? No way. No way he's talking to me like this. No way he's talking to me like this. Like, really, bro? You don't know me, I don't know you. And my land is my land. It's not yours. It's not Allah's land. If anybody's land, it's God's land. And God has a son. And that's where we fight. That's where we fight. It's cool. Whatever. I got my gun too. You got your gun. Fine. It is what it is at this point. But I'm going to let you know that it's self-defense because you told me you was finna kill me. And you told me you was finna take my stuff. And you threatened me. And I told you to shut your mouth and leave me alone and get the fuck back before you get popped up. And then you kept pressing me. And you ended up on the news. So that's on you, bro. Self-defense. Welcome to America.
The glad tidings that this religion of Islam will enter every household. Every household.
I don't believe in it. You're not coming in my house. And you're not going to tell me nothing else about it. You're going to shut your mouth and you're going to stay where you at. Because if you come over here, you're going to get lit up. Don't run your mouth. Don't talk that mess like you think you talking. I'm not over at your house talking this mess because I got respect. And if you don't have no respect, then I don't got no respect. And since you want to take it there, you just said you're going to die. So go ahead and do it yourself. So I don't have to defend myself from your stupidity.
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Sahih Hadith, he told us, this ummah, the guarantee, this ummah, who will be victorious. And those that try to overcome them will not be able to.
That is why communities refusing religious encroachment into churches matters. It is a boundary A peaceful but firm one. A reminder that freedom of worship does not include a right to absorb, mock, or politically repurpose somebody else's sacred space. It also reminds politicians that pluralism only works when every group understands the same limit. Your faith is yours, the public square belongs to all citizens, and nobody gets to rule it by religious destiny. And the deeper lesson is this: societies usually do not lose confidence in one dramatic moment. They lose it through 100 small surrenders, each one excused as tolerance, each one dismissed as harmless, until one day people realize every institution is too nervous to defend itself. That is how civic weakness grows. Quietly, smiling, with polite language wrapped around hard intentions. So the answer is not panic, and it is not collective blame. It is clarity. Protect free worship, protect equal rights, and say no to anyone who treats churches, laws, and public life as pieces on a board for religious capture. Freedom survives when people still have the nerve to defend boundaries. That is all for today on Freedom Insight. Goodbye.
All right, so I appreciated that. You know, the Sharia stuff's getting a little out of control, and I'm not the one that would like to. I'm not someone that likes to have problems. I'm not someone who likes to cause problems. I'm not someone who likes to be in altercations or anything like that. I don't like it personally because it's not where I need to be with my life. Okay? I feel like it does everybody a disservice when I'm being mean. When I'm not being the best version of myself. Okay? We'll get to this in a second. But when I'm not being the best version of myself, when I'm not promoting positivity, endless abundance, when I'm not promoting working together and us having more of a collective society versus I would call it more of a collective versus communist or socialism. You could have the capitalistic mindset if you want to make money a thing, but if we go into a collectivist society where we're like, you know, moving as one, and we have a singular goal to accomplish, we can accomplish all things. Nothing will be held back from us. Just like during the time of Babel, which is why our languages was dispersed, changed all of the different languages to make it hard for us to communicate with each other. Now we're battling against principles and ideologies from all these different evil entities. So it's all full circle. It's very disappointing when you have a group of people that want nothing but full control under a divine right. That is when you have the Catholic Church, the different crusades during that time. That's why everybody's all soft now, because they don't want that to happen, but that's what's happening now, except it's Islam doing it. And it's a very dangerous position for us to be in. I definitely don't want us to be going down this path because it puts too much power in the hands of people that would abuse it. Wow, this is a rabbit hole right here. Let's catch up with let's see what's cracking. Love me some lefties losing it. But before I get back to that, I need to go ahead and drop these right now for the sake of the show.
Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to lefties losing it. Let's start with feral lefties abusing hard-working ICE agents, calling these men of colour foot soldiers of a fascist regime. The reaction from the agents is perfect.
No thoughts. You guys are the foot soldiers of a fascist regime, right? Is that not what it is? Is that funny? Is that funny?
Yeah, it is pretty funny because you're ridiculous. And have you noticed that ICE agents tend to be far more diverse than the lefty losers abusing them, who are almost always white? Interesting, isn't it? Now, let's check in on some of the celebrities taking part in possibly the dumbest protest to ever take place, the No King rallies. Guys, if you actually lived in the fascist dictatorship that you think you live in, well, you wouldn't be able to have rallies. You'd be gunned down in the streets like protesters in Iran. Something lost on the likes of actress Jane Fonda and former MSNBC host Joy Reid.
Bring 5 friends. Bring people who haven't gone to protest before. No Kings is like a first step. You know, it's like reaching out a hand and saying, come on, there's a room for everybody here. You'll have fun. You'll meet new people.
Yes. And you can protest and look cute while doing it. Listen, get out there and No Kings arrive with 5. Don't go anywhere alone in these autocratic streets.
Yep, the lefties did bring their friends and they were waving Hezbollah flags and Hamas flags, and even the hammer and sickle flags were flying high in the streets of New York. You know, that's a symbol of genuine oppression that has been responsible for tens of millions of deaths around the world.
Working class revolution! Working class revolution!
But back to the nincompoop celebs, and Jane Fonda was back this time with fellow aging star Bruce Springsteen. You know, these people are too old to be this stupid.
Guess where we are? Guess who's here? No Kings. Do it.
Talking about being too old to be this stupid, leading the New York rally was Robert De Niro. There he is holding a banner alongside Attorney General Letitia James and Reverend Al Sharpton. And sadly, Robert De Niro decided to give a speech. Now, in the past, he has embarrassed himself trying to speak off the cuff. So this time, he wrote a speech. It didn't go well.
How can this be happening? Look at the power of the No Kings National Uprising. No. Look at the power of the No Kings National Uprising. Afraid of Trump? Please. No, they should be more afraid of us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, let's give him another go. He is an actor. He should be able to read from a script.
Tested the constitutional limits of their power, but none have been such an existential threat to our freedoms and security. None, except Trump. He must be stopped, and he must be stopped now. And that's what No Kings is all about, because he can't do all the up things that he's been doing without the collusion of Congress and the goons in his administration.
This guy is railing against democracy. Sounds a little bit insurrection-y to me. He would be dangerous if he wasn't such an unserious clown.
It's diabolical. Afraid of Trump? Please. No, they should be more afraid of us.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Because we still believe in the core American values of justice, equality, decency, and kindness.
Just zero self-awareness from that guy. What a way to destroy your legacy by showing what a delusional, hateful dimwit you are when you were once known simply as a great actor. Now, why are they marching? Because they're crazy, hysterical, and dangerously misinformed. In other words, they're lefties losing. And this woman is convinced that there are death camps on American soil. Seriously.
No death camps on American soil!
That's what you're saying?
No death camps on American soil!
No cats?
No death camps!
Okay, so that's why you're protesting today?
Yeah, because those camps are death camps. Camps are raping them. They doing what Hitler did. So they can suck it up in little tussies and smoke it.
So where are these camps at?
The Florida Keys.
I was just in the Florida Keys, didn't see any death camps, plenty of cocktails, tourists, roosters walking around. But back to our celebs, and it's not just your A-listers joining these pathetic gatherings. The D-listers are there too. They're all part of this No Kings movement, and that includes soap actress and failed Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member Eileen Davidson, who has been scared for the past 10 years. Well, except for the few years where Biden was in charge.
I have been feeling really scared. Actually, for like the last 10 years, if you get my drift, on and off. But especially right now. There's a lot of weird things going on. This war in Iran that nobody voted for, and yet here we are at war. I mean, how? This stuff with the TSA, God bless them. Minneapolis, the killings there. Epstein files, the list is endless, and that's why it's so scary, right? It just seems like you can't see the light of day.
And the D-list celebs aren't just taking part in No Kings rallies. They're bragging about being annoying Karens, harassing ICE agents. Here is Busy Phillips explaining ICE was in her neighborhood, on her street. She was so scared.
ICE was in my neighborhood, an apartment building on my street. And I just stood there and was annoying. I was just an annoying white woman. Yes, and then they
right women to the front.
I was just like, what are you doing? Why are you just standing there waiting at the door? I have a daughter. I'm a single mother. Yeah. I can't. And I just was like annoying them.
Yes.
And the guy, they weren't talking to me. They were like covered faces. Yeah. They're like, ma'am. And I was like, you guys don't seem like police. I don't know what's going on. This is scary. I feel scared.
The reverse Karen is such a gift to our society right now.
A reverse Karen? What are they doing? What is going on with people? What the fuck?
Yeah.
In the US, you spend your entire working life paying into Medicare on the promise that when you retire, you get covered. What nobody told you, though, is that there are thousands of Medicare plans available, but the broker who handled your enrollment could only show you a fraction of them. The carriers, they get paid why. That's how the industry works. This means you could be enrolled in a plan that doesn't actually cover your specific doctors or those expensive prescriptions. So I've palmed 62554, that's 516. Big party. Now, you would have all heard of the victim card. These Canadians went one better and started handing out equity cards, literally.
There's a point of privilege on microphone 1, then we'll go to microphone 3. Go ahead, delegate.
Yes. Hello. I was standing here with my gender equity card before you called on the previous speaker. That's my point of privilege. I would like to
I will explain the speaking order, which is fixed, that I cannot amend, which is the pro-con rotation. You can move yourself up a line that you're standing in.
I am pro, and I was...
We went...
You went pro, con,
We went pro, and my plan was to go con. The speaker at con mic 3 also has a speaking card.
Yesterday, this card was used in an inappropriate manner. And while I understand in Ontario we know this is equity, even if that, this was also used inappropriate in terms of gender. I want everyone to be mindful that these cards for individuals like myself who identify as a Black woman.
She identifies as a Black woman. There was a time when you didn't have to point that out. It was pretty obvious. But we are talking about painfully woke, broken Canada, where this is how adults conduct themselves now.
Point of personal privilege. I understand there's very little time and for delegates to speak, but early on the mic, it's hard as a racialized and transgender delegate to sometimes use this card and speak to somebody in front of me in line and ask, hey, this pertains to multiple intersecting parts of my lived experience. I'd like to speak. I was rejected when I talked, and it's frustrating when these are my rights being directly under attack right now in Alberta, and that a cisgender woman had spoken over me. And I understand her rights are important too. This pertains to her too, but I don't know. I hope that in the future the federal NDP will also have a broader interpretation of the equity cards for speakers. That's all. Thank you.
I will invite delegates to assist me in better using the card by forming a straight line behind the microphone with a prominently displayed
Straight. That was funny.
equity card. If I see speakers ahead of you who are not holding a card prominently, it would be wrong of me to guess about their gender identity, and I will come to you.
Goodness me, she said the word straight line there without a trigger warning. Point of personal privilege. How dare a cisgender woman speak? I mean, the whole thing is nuts. Everything you see there is a sign of civilizational decline. Let's stay in Canada. And guys, I really don't think the country is okay. Let's have a look at what passes for talent at the country's premier music awards show. Yeah, okay, that's enough of that. At least Nelly Furtado seemed to be liking it, bless her.
What? I'm so confused. What is going on with this world? Lord in heaven. It's supposed to be this bad, or is it gonna get worse? Oh, it's gonna get worse.
That was the Juno Awards to honour achievements in Canadian music, and the night was hosted by actress and alleged comic Mae Martin, who's about as funny as an ingrown toenail. Here she talks about Davos, you know, the location for the World Economic Forum. She talks about how proud she was of her weak lefty soy boy prime minister.
I do have to say, though, that when I saw Mark Carney's speech at Davos, did you see that? I felt a childlike pride. I felt like he was Canada's dad sticking up to the bullies. I was like, that's my prime minister. And then I saw him posing with the cast of Heated Rivalry, and just my nervous system just relaxed.
Her nervous system relaxed, guys. Yeah, Canada most definitely is not okay. And who the hell is Heated Rivalry? Who cares? Now to the issue of male bodies in women's sport. And one massive beneficiary of that has been Caster Semenya, who was born with a difference in sex development, but he has XY chromosomes, a genetic male who won Olympic gold running against women. That will no longer be possible under new sane rules adopted by the IOC. And he says that's unfair.
You know, the medical terms, what they tell me, you know, my testosterone, you know, being born, you know, without the uterus, you know, being born with internal testicles, those don't make me less a woman. It's just the differences that I was born with, and I embrace them.
Dude, I'm pretty sure testes do make you a man. Now get ready to lose some brain cells, because we're about to hear from a Guardian writer who claims women are better than men in soccer.
This is actually why women's football was abolished by the Football Association in the 20s, was because women were too good, and if you put them on the same team, men got upset. And that has been the evolution of male and female sports peeling apart. You look very sceptical, but it's true.
That level of delusion, that level of ignorance is frankly dangerous. Here's a reality check. High school boys teams could beat women's soccer teams, national soccer teams. Remember Australia's elite national women's team losing 7-0 to a bunch of 13 and 14-year-olds from Newcastle. Yes, beaten 7-0 by the Newcastle under-15 boys team. And I'm talking about Newcastle in Australia, not the UK. Now let's go to CNN, who were delivered a brutal reality check about this issue. They weren't expecting this.
You were the face of the Olympics for so many years. This news today about the IOC basically banning trans athletes, that there's going to be a genetic test. Your reaction to that and this very complicated issue?
Common sense is not transphobic. There's a reason why the high school champions don't compete with the college champions. There is a reason why no trans man who was once a woman and has become a man has ever competed successfully with men in the Olympics. If Caitlin Clark could play in the NBA, everybody would applaud it. That'd be an incredible thing. But if the last guy on the bench of an NBA team went to the WNBA and started averaging 40 points a game, everyone would know that is BS. It doesn't make any sense to have a swimmer who was the 472nd ranked swimmer when he was a man at Penn, either winning or coming close to winning against women a year and a half after transitioning.
Bravo. Sticking with CNN, who never miss an opportunity to be the Democrats' unofficial propaganda arm, here the anchor here listened to a litany of lies, all of it unchallenged, but she does pop up at the very end to make one correction.
It's a voter intimidation, voter suppression effort, and the president is tying TSA pay to that, which is also absurd. And also, I don't want to give a penny more to TSA or DHS, even if they are already funded, because what I'm hearing from constituents and what I'm
Those people are supposed to stop bombs and stuff from going through the airport, and they're supposed to be protecting our shores because that includes the National Guard. This is the defense of our nation. This is what makes you feel safe enough to have your opinion.
Is that they're dragging women by their hair, throwing them into unmarked vans, chasing people through the fields and factories where they work. They've committed public executions, 2 of them, and co-signing off on this is just not who we are as Americans. And there's a simple way to do this. I think you pointed that out at the top, and the Senate Majority Leader would be wise to take that deal.
I think that you may have misspoken. You said TSA. You don't want to give another penny to TSA. I think that you meant ICE.
I'm sorry. Thank you. I meant ICE.
We have to have our weekly check-in with the ladies of The View.
Oh, you meant ICE. Oh, you meant ICE. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Let's see if this lot can go through a show without saying something spectacularly stupid.
Did you see the rendition of the of the library that he's building?
Yes.
It's a giant. It looks like a giant penis.
Oh yeah. Let me see that.
It's just this giant thing.
This looks like a modern building tower.
Wow. No matter what, they just gotta hate.
Like millions others you have seen around the world, maybe just a little bit prettier. But Whoopi can see a penis. Now, they are deranged on that program. We shouldn't be shocked. Here is Sunny Hostin suggesting that it's reckless to have children unless you make over $400,000.
I think it's just really reckless to be suggesting that people should have children when you now know in this country there's this affordability crisis, and for a 2-person household, a married household, you need over $400,000 for childcare. Over $400,000. Most people don't make over $400,000. So she's advocating for people to be born into poverty, people not being able to feed those children, people not being able to educate those children, and people not being able to house those children at the same time when this government is cutting all of the services.
Deranged, I told you. So unless you are rich, earning over $400,000, then forget about having a family. That would be reckless. And you can forget about marriage too, because apparently that's tantamount to slavery if you're a woman. Here is actress Leslie Jones.
I think marriage is legalized slavery.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Say more, because if I'm thinking about slavery and I'm thinking about marriage, there are 2 different images that come into my
Absolutely
head.
not. I don't know how you don't. A man is, especially if he's expecting you to be a trad wife, you might as well pull out a whip and a chain.
Well, so there are young people watching who might be wanting to get married. What would you say to them?
Don't.
Well, what the fuck? Yo, this is wild. Oh my goodness, people actually think like this. This is amazing. This is so interesting. Like, oh my god, it's the fuck stupidity.
Don't get married.
No.
Okay.
Slavery. You know, I'm done with these crazy women. Let's check in with a dude pretending to be a woman. Maybe he's a little bit more sane. And you've got to give Dylan Mulvaney some credit here. He has been mocking womanhood, or girlhood as he calls it, for 4 years now.
How old are you?
I'm 4 years old.
You are the youngest person ever. You are the youngest.
Time for an awful now. You remember them, affluent white female leftists. They're now protesting for a ceasefire, protesting for the military action against the Islamist Iranian regime to end. Here you have an Iranian woman trying to impress upon an awful how evil this Iranian regime is, but the smug lefty doesn't hear a word.
She's right. Iranians are asking for the bombs. What are you doing supporting a terrorist regime? Why are you supporting a terrorist regime? I understand bombing is bad. Convince me of what? Of rape? Of women not having no rights? I'm Iranian. I've been imprisoned by that regime.
How Another entry from The View. Wow. This time it's Joy Behar making this incredible claim, and by incredible I mean a straight-out lie, hysterical misinformation. Here she claims if the SAVE Act is passed and voter ID becomes law, well, that means women will stop voting and there won't even be an election. The midterms won't happen.
We'll be lucky if we have those midterms, because what they are trying to do is stop, especially women from voting with this SAVE Act. Yeah. And the Supreme Court is poised to let them do it. Watch the Supreme Court right now.
They're playing such an important role, by the way, in our country.
If they do that, if they pass that act, we will not see those. We will not see the midterms.
I told you, incredible. ABC continue to air that program, knowing perfectly well it is nothing but miserable misinformation, relentless leftist propaganda. Let's hear now from basketball great Charles Barkley, who clearly does not understand the difference between immigrants and illegal immigrants. Here's a clue, Chuck. It's the word illegal.
The way some of these other immigrants are getting treated in our country right now is a travesty and a disgrace. I think there's a difference between amazing immigrants and criminal immigrants. And I think what's going on in our country, what we're doing to some of these amazing immigrants is really unfortunate and it's really sad. And that's a great immigrant story. We have a lot of great immigrant stories out there their stories need to be told.
Oh, Charles, the difference isn't between amazing immigrants and criminal immigrants. It's between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. You either believe in borders and in the right of countries to exist and protect those borders, or you're an open borders lefty. It's up to you. Now, Don Lemon's levels of delusion should be studied. Here he speaks about how one day he could be president. Seriously.
Could it happen? Yeah, it could happen. If the opportunity presented itself, the right opportunity presented itself. Look, if I wanted to, I know people are going to think I'm crazy. This is going to be the headline and people are going to laugh about it. I think I could be president of the United States. I could definitely run this country better than Donald Trump.
He's a rare one, rare combination of brash confidence and almost zero ability. Let's look at some of Don's work. Firstly, with folk who may one day vote for him.
If you could say anything to the president, Donald Trump, what would you say?
Oh, you. I hate him. I think he's a horrible person. He's ruined America. The whole concept of an American dream is just shot.
I would say to sit down. I think we need a replacement.
Stop funding Israel. Help America out. Make America better again. That's not making America better again. Funding Israel. That's bad. Like, come on now.
No objections there from Don. That was all music to his ears. But listen to what happens when a Persian American tries to speak to him. Don can't help objecting.
The Islamic regime kills women. They killed 50,000 people in 2 days. A lot of them believe death in all of Americans. So I'm fully 100% support Donald Trump.
So you said you're Persian, but there's no imminent threat to the United States.
My dad grew up in Iran. He had to flee the country when he was 14. Again, fully support Donald Trump with the bombing of the supreme leader.
But do you understand how Americans feel like this had nothing to do with us? We're not.
Yeah, no, I understand.
There's no imminent threat.
Poor kid does try to explain to Dim Don there that this regime kills women for not wearing a hijab. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. Suddenly, Don Lemon wants us to believe he's some sort of America First non-interventionist. Give me a break. Now, let's go to CPAC. That's just concluded. And let's check in on this lass who showed up with two distinct hair colours, wearing a Deport Melania cap and Leave Your MAGA Boyfriend top.
I'm here to smoke on the corner here.
But why have you come to CPAC today?
I'm not at CPAC. This is what hot girls look like. Thanks for asking.
But why have you come to CPAC today? I mean, clearly it's going to be some connection, right?
Why are you at CPAC today? Your accent tells me that you're not from this country. You sound like an immigrant.
That's what a hot girl looks like. Good to know. She did nail the Aussie accent, though, so good on her for that. And let's look at a highlight from the No Kings protest. This old dude sums up the crowd. Confused, angry, incapable of articulating any argument. Watch how he loses it when the interviewer points out that it was Kamala Harris who was installed, not elected, as the Democrat nominee. No one voted for Kamala.
We say no kings and no authoritarianism, but Kamala Harris, no one voted for her.
Yes, they did. Half the country voted for her, so let's not vote.
No one was voted for her to be the nominee.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that what, like, authoritarian?
You're going down the wrong road right now with me. I wouldn't go any further.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to talk anymore.
Now let's end lefties on a high note with this young man who gave CNN a piece of his mind. They asked a dumb question and they got an awesome answer.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love space? Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the freaking moon, that's why.
Not sure if you saw the news, but Fox News is claiming.
Yeah, that kid was happy about going to the moon, man. Which is, yeah, that's cool. That's pretty cool. We'll check out this Artemis thing real quick. Hold on. Orion completes translunar injection burn. What? No, it's supposed to take longer than a day to get to the moon. It's supposed to take way longer than a day to get to the moon, right? No.
As they're briefing the media on the launch yesterday and this translunar injection burn. Let's listen in live.
On the Artemis 2 mission to the moon and about how the test flight is going overall. They are Dr. Lori Glaze, who leads NASA's Artemis program, Judd Freeling, Ascent Flight Director for the mission, and Howard Hugh, Orion Program Manager. We'll have some opening remarks and then take questions both from reporters here in the room and on the phone. And those of you who are joining us by phone can press star 1 to get into the question queue. And with that, we'll start with Lori.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited to be able to tell you that for the first time since 1972 during Apollo 17, human beings have left Earth orbit. With Artemis 2's successful 5-minute and 50-second translunar injection burn this evening, our 4 crew members, NASA astronauts Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen, are now on their trajectory toward the moon. The burn was executed by our flight operations team here in Houston, and it was flawless. The burn was the last major firing of this mission. From this point forward, the laws of orbital mechanics are going to carry our crew to the moon, around the far side, and back to Earth. Our crew is healthy, and our spacecraft is performing really well. After we've had a series of checkouts since launch, and again, everything really performing pretty well. And we're on the path that we designed for this mission. But just a reminder, again, you can hear us keep saying it over and over again, this is still a test flight. We are getting, and we're going to continue to get lots of new data every day, important information as we continue learning how we're going to operate this Orion spacecraft in the actual space environment. And I'll tell you, we're already learning a lot as we go. We've encountered several things along the way. We're not really tracking anything right now that's of concern, but anything that we've encountered since we've launched was brought to our mission management team today and discussed, and the satisfactory path forward on every case, and a unanimous decision to proceed forward with the go for the translunar injection burn. So you'll hear a little bit more about some of that here in a minute, all the things that we've been doing. Just a reminder, we got 8 days of work ahead, and we intend to learn as much as we can, everything that we can that this vehicle can teach us. And with that, let's see, before I do that, we had a couple images we wanted to share. Let's see if we can pull some of those up. I wanted to share one of my favorite images. This one I saw last night. Actually, I was getting onto the plane to fly here from Florida. This one popped up, and I just absolutely love this one. Looking out the window, you can see the solar array wing there and the OMS engine from the Orion spacecraft, and then you can see Earth's crescent in the back. I just thought it was absolutely gorgeous with our crew members being able to see out the window there and get that photo. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then the second image I wanted to show you, you'll hear a lot more from Howard about the proximity operations demonstration that was conducted yesterday evening. And let's see, is that one going to come up? It's coming back. It's coming back. There it is. And in this image, you can see Victor Glover on the left there. He was using the manual controls to maneuver the spacecraft. And then Reed Wiseman on the right there was calling out the commands. So it was really, I hope some of you got a chance to watch that. I was riveted. It was absolutely spectacular to hear Victor's narration of the whole activity. So super cool. So with all of that, I am going to hand it over to Judd, and he can talk us through some of the technical details about the flight so far.
All right. Thanks, Lori. It's been a great couple of days to be in the space business. Yesterday, SLS put us right on the money during ascent. We started with some checkouts by the crew from both the water dispenser and the toilet. Those were successful. And ICPS then burned us with our perigee raise maneuver, got us in a stable orbit. We did have a brief comm outage that was due to a ground issue that we have now rectified, and we understand that's not going to be a problem henceforth. And then, let's see, the ICPS then gave us a great amount of energy, put us in higher orbit with the apogee raise burn, again, right down the money. So really happy with that burn. After that, as Lori mentioned, Victor did the prox-ops demonstration, gave us a lot of great feedback on how the vehicle responds in preparation for future rendezvous operations. So very valuable data. We also checked out all of the carbon dioxide scrubbers, all 3 beds successfully checked out, and CO2 is doing great in the vehicle. We did, once we were done with the prox-ops demonstration, the ICPS on its own did the automatic deploy of the 4 CubeSats, and then also ICPS did its disposal burn, and so that all went well. In the middle of the crew sleep, we also had them wake up and do the perigee raise burn, and that was 100% successful. Got us again back into a stable orbit, raised our perigee to about 100 nautical miles, so we're happy with that performance as well. This morning, the crew woke up. They had a conference with the flight control team and our lead flight director, Jeff Radigan, went over some details of anything that they had, changes to the timeline, which were minimal. They did an exercise test of the flywheel. That was successful. Reed reported that it was exactly like training. His arms were really tired, and he got a great cardio workout. So we took some samples of what the carbon dioxide was while we were doing exercise, and that was all great as well. And of course, just a little under an hour ago, we did the translunar injection, which sets us up for the free return around the moon, and also for splashdown in San Diego. So with that, I'll hand it over to Howard to give you some more details on Orion.
All right, thanks, Judd. Really excited to be here. Wow, what a great 2 days, huh? I haven't slept, I don't think, very much over the last 24 hours, just following all the things that happened for the Orion spaceship. We had a perfect ride uphill, got into orbit, spent a good day, just checking out systems, and getting ready for TLI that Lori talked about, and a successful TLI and a really great precision burn that we just had. But I'll talk about the things that we accomplished yesterday. Yesterday, as you know, we did a proximity operations demonstration with a centerline camera and with a spacecraft. I call it test driving the car. It's been an awesome event for all the engineers and the team that's worked on it to hear Victor and Reed talk about our spaceship and the work that we put in to put into this capability for manual flying. I would say that, first of all, we accomplished all the test objectives that we set out for this proximity operations. We had 2 precision tests, and I'll describe a little bit about what those were. But I'll send with a picture first to show you and describe. This is a very close-in picture, these three pictures. On the, I guess, upper left of the picture is our centerline docking target right in the middle. It's a standoff cross that you'll see. It's a 2-foot wide target. And this is the target that we're going to use for future missions. So this is the exact flight configuration that we use. So it's really important that we got that on the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. So we were able to get that on that stage. And what we do, as I describe it, is as we separate from the ICPS, we do a backflip. 5 degrees per second, and we back away all the way as far in this demonstration was about 400 feet. And that back away scenario, that allows us to have a good standoff understanding. We're pretty far away, not this picture, but I'll talk a little bit about where this is going. Then we start doing what I call course manual piloting. And this allows, and you might have heard this, what Victor was doing was basically moving side to side with the spaceship, up and down, and then doing the rotation pitch, roll, yaw, making sure that the response from the spacecraft and the performance is what you've seen. And the reason it's course is because you're so far away at 400 feet that you want to make sure you have big maneuvers so you can see the target going out of your field of view a little bit, okay? So that's what we did at the initial part, and then we slowly started coming in and approaching the vehicle. And that picture that you see in the upper left side is almost to 33 feet. About 40 feet away, I think. And that's where we will do what I call fine manual piloting. So we're just doing a little bit of the same thing, side to side, up and down, doing the pitch, roll, and yaw maneuver and handling. And you heard that if you watched closely, and some great commentary. Especially, it was heartwarming to hear. I know I talked to some of our team members today, to hear that how well their baby worked, operating precisely. That is exactly what we wanted to do, holding the attitude and being able to maneuver very well and described, I think, just very excitedly by Reed and both Reed and Victor. I think it's really a great moment for all of us who have been working in this arena to get this demonstration off. And of course, that wasn't the end of it. We did back away at about 65 feet, and we let the ICPS do a maneuver, and then we had another target, what we were calling this two-dimensional target. So it didn't have a standoff cross like we did on the ICPS nose. What we did was add a good 2-degree target or two-dimensional target on the spacecraft on the ICPS, and then we did the same maneuver, but a little different. This maneuver was what we call 6-degree of freedom maneuver, where we were tracking and also maneuvering by rotating as well. So you're translating and rotating at the same time, and that allowed you to have a different characteristic of the vehicle performance in a manual piloting approach. And we were also able to go to this 33-foot range. So really important demonstration of both the fine and coarse handling of the spaceship for future missions as we go forward. And that was something that we wanted to make sure we brought down some risk. And you saw the images of the centerline camera, and performance was outstanding. And of course, the crew was outstanding. They did a perfect job. I actually flew the simulator. I did not qualify for this mission, unfortunately. So I definitely wasn't ready for this kind of mission. But Victor just did terrific and followed everything. And I saw the track today in terms of predictions, and I got to give kudos to him. He followed it right along. And it was a really great opportunity to demonstrate our capability. So that was a really important demonstration and test of our rendezvous and prox ops capabilities that we're going to need for the future. But also in that 24-hour period, we had to obviously demonstrate our readiness for translunar injection. We were able to really track a lot of the subsystems that we've learned from on Artemis 1, but also the most important subsystem when we put humans on board is the life support system. And I'm happy to report that the performance of the CO2 scrubber, the ability to distribute water, control the temperature inside the cabin is exactly as we predicted, and in some cases better. And so that was really great. And of course, across all the other subsystems that we demonstrated in Artemis 1, like power generation, was better than predicted. Also, over 13 kilowatts of power generation, and our ability to control, like I said, the inside cabin and control the temperature across all the parts of the spacecraft was right on and nominal. So that was really good to see. And of course, we were ready to execute the TLI burn today. And our guidance navigation control system was ready to go and demonstrated through this burn its ability to handle this type of burn and the precision that's needed to take us to the moon and come back into Earth's atmosphere. So really great overall demonstration of the prox ops, really great demonstration of the core subsystems that we have on board the spaceship that's required to execute the rest of the days of this Artemis 2 mission. And finally, I would say that we had,
Well, I'll say this real quick. If they really want to build that base on the moon like they're saying, and they're really going to make this trip and they're going to go around, they're going to come back. The next time they go, if this actually works and they go down there and they get their little spot picked out where they want to put the base and stuff, the rocket that they send to create the space station should be the first parts that they're going to utilize, and don't send that rocket back. They need to actually utilize all the pieces from that rocket and utilize them to help build for material. The reason why it will go so much better is because it would be easier to sustain. You already have a built-in life support system and all these other things, so you would want to leave that stuff there. And then for a little while, every time you send rockets, they should be more pieces and more parts that they're going to land and stay. So that way there's pieces to work with to actually continue to build a civilization. And then you might need to use those pieces to start to terraform. So these are things that we want to consider if we're going down this route.
Really great opportunity to just understand our overall performance across all these subsystems and making sure that we're ready to commit the crew to a safe journey to the moon and back. And we demonstrated that over the last 24 hours. We were able to, as Lori said, have a mission management team review of that and determine that we were going for TLI. And I'm just really happy that we're headed to the moon. Thank you.
My bad. Hit us with some commercials, huh?
And determined that we were going for TLI. And I'm just really happy that we're headed to the moon. Thank you.
All right, it's time now for questions. We'll start here in the room, and then we have several on the phone. A reminder, please raise your hand if you're here. We'll have a mic coming around. And then if you are joining by phone, *1 can get you into the question queue. And we will begin in the room here. Let's come around with the mic here in the front. Yep.
This is Mission Control Houston, Artemis Flight Control Room. We are now MAT 1 day, 2 hours, and 16 minutes since the launch of Orion atop the SLS rocket, Space Launch System rocket, for the first flight of humans aboard the Orion spacecraft. This is Artemis 2, and we are now bound for the moon. The crew completed a successful translunar injection burn just about an hour ago. It was a 5-minute and 50-second burn.
About 15-20 minutes before
Leadership and mission leadership are now discussing burn and status of the mission on our other YouTube channel. If you're interested in tuning in.
Loading those to different mode, the fan speed
quiet aboard Orion as the crew is in their midday meal. They have several options of food to choose from.
And of course that rang an alarm that was suspected.
Shortly after they entered this time period.
You're hearing this, the press conference about Artemis 2, while you also hear kind of the communication between the Orion capsule and the mission control there at Johnson Space Station. We're just continuing to work for this, but let's just play it. I just wanted to note that a little bit of abnormality of what's going on, but let's listen back in.
Essentially, whenever we're using that system, there's a pressure sensor divergence, and we've seen that before, and so we knew exactly what those signatures were. So again, not an issue at all.
Eric.
Eric Berger, Ars Technica, and just congratulations. So far, it's been spectacular to behold all of this. I guess 2 questions for Howard. First of all, quick question: were there any thruster issues during the Proxox demo? Any sort of outages or concerns with that regard? Did everything perform nominally? And then, does the performance and Victor's piloting during that exercise give you confidence in Orion's handling for the maneuvers contemplated in Artemis 3 with 1 or 2 of the HLS?
Yeah, no issues with the thrusters. They perform nominally and performance is excellent. Relative to future confidence, this gives us a lot of confidence in terms of close in. I've talked previously about being on the docking axis. It's very important for the crew because unlike Orbiter, where we were able to have situation awareness from the windows, when we approach closely, we are very dependent on the cameras and the LiDAR that will be on Artemis 3 and above for our relative navigation. And so this was a really good exercise of that. And of course, hearing the crew in a preliminary way through verbally, but we'll look at the data very closely and then get the post-flight report from them in detail. I think at first indication that the vehicle performed better than obviously they expected. And I think, for us, it was really good understanding of how the human-in-the-loop part worked. We know precisely what our capabilities are when we have automated capability, but having a crew in the loop and demonstrating their capabilities and being able to hold and be able to execute a translational and rotational maneuvers and be able to do that precisely is really outstanding. And I look forward to them coming back home, telling us all the nuances. I'll be sitting in hours with them and questioning them on how they felt about it and what the responses were based on the pulses they put in. But yes, it's very, very heartwarming to hear that from the crew. And of course, even better to get the technical data and play that forward.
Go ahead.
Mark Kirkman with NSF. This is probably for a combination of both Judd and Howard. Now that we're committed with TLI, during Translunar Coast, the attitude you're going to hold, what are the out-the-view windows for the crew? What are they going to be able to see Earth with regard to Earth or the Moon? And also, prior to the flight, you were talking about based on TLI, what they would get to see when they do the close observation. It was based on a sun angle of high, medium, or low. What did we end up getting based on the launch day and the TLI that we're in? And if you don't mind, just based on what he said, I'd like to follow up with that, Howard. It sounds like, based on what Ike said and you said, that the handling qualities, the tight, deadbeat damping, that this is better than you predicted. Is that a true statement?
You want me to start first? And you go ahead. Talk about that. I would say that predictions are hard. There's a human in the loop kind of element, and we practice that. So I would say yes, definitely, maybe better than we anticipated in a lot of ways because there's variations by which we go into space. On a closed loop control system for guidance, navigation, control, when you have an automated system, you know precisely and you predict exactly how the system will respond. The crew is well trained, and Victor did exactly what he needed to do, and the spacecraft responded.
As far as where the vehicle will be pointed, most of the time we spend in a tail to sun attitude. So we take the back end of the vehicle, point it towards the sun, and so whatever the geometry is, that's what you get. We sometimes have the advantage when we have good power balance. We can move the solar arrays that have cameras on the end, and we can move those around and see what look back at the Earth or look forward at the moon. Also on flight day 6, whenever we do the lunar closer approach, we'll change attitude, make sure that the crew has those views of the lunar surface. As far as the lighting of the moon, this was a lower lighting day that we launched. I think it was in the 20 to 30%, 20% lit area. So we'll still get good shots from the crew. We'll still get great descriptions from their Mark 1 eyeballs. But we're going around the moon, so that's the main thing, right?
Okay, we'll take 2 more on the end here, and then we'll go to the phone. So go ahead, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie Waddle, CNN. Quick question for Howard. I know Victor said that he was going to give the Cooper Harper rating scales during the prox ops. Are you able to share those numbers? Just curious to know how it handled. And then also would love to just ask a general question about the crew, how they're adjusting to orbit. Specifically curious about the first-time flyer and whether there's any space adaptation syndrome without, invading privacy. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'm sure we can share the Cooper Harper handling qualities. I mean, we did assessments with the simulator, and we'll do it as part of this demonstration, and love to hear that feedback. I think we got some different feedback, like you said, but look forward to that. Yeah, definitely. But I'll let Judd answer the other question.
As far as the crew members, they're doing great. There's no indication that they're having any problems at all. So I don't expect that they're having any problems.
Hi, Lauren Grush with Bloomberg. Thanks so much and congratulations again. I wanted to ask about the troubleshooting of the toilet that happened on that first day. Can you just explain to us what the issue was and how they fixed it? And on a priority scale, would you say this was a #1 priority or a #2?
When, we had always planned to wet the toilet with some water that we pulled out of the PWD, the potable water dispenser, and it turns out, I guess, we didn't put enough in, and so the pump was not fully wetted, and so it has automatic fault detection in that if it's not fully wetted, it'll shut itself down. So once we figured out that we didn't put enough water in, we put more in there, made sure that it was essentially primed, the pump was primed, and then the toilet came right back up.
I will say that in addition,
Sounds good, Reed. I'm glad you guys are
this while we were working through those procedures,
we're doing really good on power. We're going well below our prediction.
And so that was a good that's an alternate path. If we could not go to the primary line, we were able to vent out the secondary line, and we were able to demonstrate that. And we did demonstrate today the primary vent line through the toilet. So I think both lines worked well, and really happy.
The end of the day up to
I'll just add real quickly that I think this is a great example of some of the procedural things as we're learning to work and live in the Orion capsule. This is real humans in there. They're trying to live and learn, and we're going to learn things along the way. So we need to do this. We need to prime it first. This is the kind of things we're going to get.
We'll follow up later. Enjoy your meal.
All right, we'll take several questions from the phone now, and we'll start with Marcia Dunn from the Associated Press.
Talk about the stress level in mission control prior to the TLI burn. I mean, were you really sweating it there? And now that that's done, do you have any new revised numbers for the lunar flyby distance? Do you still think the Orion's going to go 4,000 miles past the moon before turning around, maybe closer to 5,000? Any new lunar distance numbers from today? Thanks.
Hey, Marcia. Thanks for the questions. I'll let Judd speak to what the mood was like down in Mission Control. I was actually sitting up observing the room and listening in on the loops. And everything was, it seemed like it was going very smoothly. They always seem so calm and controlled down there in Mission Control. Up in the room where I was with several other folks, as soon as we counted down and we started that burn, we just sat in silence and watched the clock go and waited for that statement that said the burn was complete. And it was just wonderful to just sit there, watch, enjoy it, and say, we've done this. It's a great accomplishment. We're really proud of all the teams that got us to this point. Let's see, the second question, about the distance. So the anticipated distance, I believe, was around 4,600 miles from the surface. Is that right? And it's a good burn, so I'm anticipating we'll be pretty close to that, but I don't know that anyone's done the actual calculation yet.
Yeah, assuming that we had a nominal burn, which we did, the max distance that our folks calculated was 219,639 nautical miles max distance from the Earth.
Yeah. Okay.
So, as far as the mood in Mission Control, these teams have done lots and lots of simulations, and so I would say they're consummate professionals. Everybody, even with the sensor problems that we had, able to do the TLI and get us through everything perfectly. So I mean, I wouldn't say there's any stress level at all.
Yeah, maybe, Lori, I'll jump in on the mission evaluation room that supports the flight control team. I was in there with the team, and, we have high confidence in our main engine. We've operated several times on Artemis 1, and, of course, we operated the upper stage separation burn as well. And I'll just tell you, everybody was standing, not so much nervous, just excitement. And then in one of our conference rooms where we had a couple GNC experts with us, we geeked out and talked about TGO, VGO, lambda, dot, and teaching class on how these burns were calculated, what the guidance targets were, and it was really fun to listen to that while we waited for the TIG. So it was really fun.
All right, our next question on the phone line is from Andrea Leinfelder with the Houston Chronicle.
Hi, I have a question on the exercising. So I was watching the video when Reed was exercising, and I know Mission Control kind of started chuckling because you could see the movement. So I was wondering if you could kind of quantify a little bit how much was moving. I know it was expected, but I'm still curious to know how much. Also, just a technical question. Would you say that Orion was in high Earth orbit or low Earth orbit during the TLI burn, just because it seems so close to the Earth? Thanks.
Let me take that. Let's see, as far as exercise, the flywheel machine, it's a little bit like a rowing machine. I think you saw that. Are you asking, I didn't quite understand the question, like how much movement does the capsule do while we're doing the movement? Is that the question? Yeah, I don't think we saw anything that we didn't expect.
Yeah, you'll see some solar ray dynamics, which is expected, but that didn't perturb any of our control where we've had to make any adjustment, big burns or anything like that to control the attitude, is where you would hear or get affected by those dynamics. Of course, we'll look at the data. I wasn't sitting in front of the data console today, but I just saw it on the videos that were coming down, and we'll talk to the team, but we didn't expect anything different. I asked our guidance navigation guys if there was any issues, and they said nope, didn't see any issues relative to exercise. And then, of course, we'll always look at the data and go by that, but looks good so far.
Let's see, and the other question was, were we in a high Earth orbit when we did TLI? Yes, technically we were, but we were at the lowest part, perigee of the orbit, so we're about 100 nautical miles off the Earth's surface, traveling about 23,000 and change miles per hour. And so because we did the TLI burn, now that takes us out of the high Earth orbit and gets us on that free return trajectory to the side of the moon.
Okay, next up is Nell Greenfield-Boyce with NPR.
Hey, can you hear me okay? Thanks for having this briefing. I appreciate hearing a little more about the water dispenser situation. It sounded like just before the burn, they were doing what they were calling like water ops, and they were bagging up water in plastic bags. Could you just go over exactly what the issues were with the dispenser and why it was decided to have backup water and how much water the astronauts actually bagged up? Thank you.
Yeah, great question. So during ascent, so we have 4 water tanks in the Orion service module, and each one of those tanks has an isolation valve between them. The isolation valve between the middle 2 tanks failed closed during ascent, and so it essentially isolated 2 tanks on one side and 2 tanks on the other. Each end of those tanks goes to one of 2 different water dispensers, a primary and a secondary, so we have full access to all of the water. However, in an abundance of caution, we decided it'd probably be good, just in case we have a subsequent failure of an isolation valve, to bag some water, and so that's exactly what we did. We're going to bag some water in the cabin and preserve that just in case we have a subsequent failure.
Okay, our next question is from Joey Roulette with Reuters.
Hey, thanks. I just wanted to clarify the predicted maximum distance from Earth. Did you say 219,000 miles? And is that based on, and that's based on the TLI burn that was just done today, right?
Those are predicts prior to us performing the TLI burn, so that assumed a perfect TLI burn, so I haven't gone and run those numbers again.
And just real quick, the reason I asked, of course, is because that's far below the record-breaking for Apollo 13. Is that your guys' understanding, I guess?
That's in nautical miles. So the Apollo distance record in nautical miles was about 216,000 nautical miles.
Okay, our next question is from Jackie Mogensen with Scientific American.
Hi, thanks for this. I have a bit of a general question and then a specific one. The general one is, how do you feel like everything is it going to plan, and are there any concerns you're keeping an eye on at this point? And then more specifically, I was curious if you could tell us about what to expect from the first high-res images and video, as well as when we might see the solar eclipse. Thank you.
I am not afraid.
Oh, hell nah. They hit us with commercials again, bro. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. They always try to do this. Every time it's getting good.
I think I'll take a stab. It's echoing in here, so it's kind of hard to hear the question. But I think the first one is how things are going. Is there anything we're tracking? And I'll just look over at my colleagues. But things are going really well. I think we couldn't be more pleased with how well things are going. Right now, we're not tracking any issues of concern. As I said, we're learning from the spacecraft, but that's what we anticipate, and we're not tracking anything. We went straight into the TLI with absolute confidence that we can complete the rest of this mission as planned. I think the other part of the question had to do with some of the imaging and expectations for when we'll get some of those back. In particular, the eclipse. I'm really excited about the eclipse that we're probably going to encounter now as part of this mission. I think the crew's excited about it as well. I know they did a little training to learn about what they're going to see. It'll be really cool when they're out and beyond the moon, be able to look back with the moon eclipsing the sun. They'll be able to see the sun's corona. That's kind of a cool, exciting thing to do. So they've been trained on it, and they're looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll come back here in the room for other questions. Let's start here in the second row.
Hi, Michael Atkinson, Houston Public Media. There was a little bit of online chatter about the Outlook issues that were happening with Reed Wiseman. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what exactly was going on with that.
Yeah, this is not uncommon. We have this on station all the time. Sometimes Outlook has issues getting configured, especially when you don't have a network that's directly connected. And so essentially, we just had to reload his files on Outlook, to get it working.
Okay, go ahead.
Richard T. with the Post newspaper. A question for Howard. You talked earlier about a ground issue related to the communications problem. Can you explain that a little bit more? Was it literally like a loose screw, or was it something in the ground cabling, maybe a resistance issue? Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Thank you.
Yeah, I can take that. So we have a processor at White Sands ground terminal. It's called a serial communication processor. In order to get return telemetry, it has to translate the radio messages to something that our front-end processors at MCC can understand. So that processor is supposed to be in a configuration for nominal S-band Orion telemetry. When we essentially found a bug that we didn't know was there before. So when we did our checkouts, part of our checkout is to put in a configuration for the emergency comm configuration. When we commanded it back to the nominal configuration, it showed that it had taken, but it did not actually. And so we basically had to go into low-level commanding to see what was the actual configuration and do that. So it's a software bug we now understand that we hadn't seen before, and so no issue with us going forward.
Okay, we'll go right here.
Hi, thanks for doing this. Beverly Casillas for Space Scout. So we talked a little bit about some of the communications anomalies and other kind of teething issues we saw on that first day of flight. And I was just curious, what would you say has been the biggest learning moment about the Orion spacecraft so far during the mission? And have there been any surprises? Thanks.
Yeah, I think the biggest learning is always first-time systems, and I always go to life support. Being able to control humidity and scrubbing CO2, which performance is really great. In fact, we're maybe becoming, we need a little bit more humidity. I think it's doing too well sometimes, but I think those are things that are, like Lori said, we're learning, we're adjusting how to operate the spaceship with actual people on board, and that are actually putting out CO2 and breathing in oxygen. So I think this is one of the things that we've learned in that 24 hours. We'll learn a lot. The trending data, the sensors we have on board in terms of accuracy, being able to track that very closely is something that we're going to learn. No surprises. We expect good performance from our subsystems, so we're very happy about that. And again, we knew that we would learn a lot. And the other thing we would learn a lot is what you guys were all referring to relative to caution warnings. I think we have thousands of caution warnings on board the spaceship, and it provides a lot of good information for the crew. But also, we're learning about the boundaries of these caution warning parameters and whether they're really nuisances or whether they're real issues. And I think this is one of the things that we'll learn all the way along the mission as we utilize and learn more about the spacecraft and approach all these objectives we're trying to accomplish along the way.
Okay, right here.
Hi, T.J. Mascara with the Epoch Times. Thank you all so much, and congratulations again. A question for Lori. In terms of a little clarification on the timeline, with the eclipse, you said it'll be when they're behind the moon, so will that be on day 6? And also, is there any clarification on what part of the timeline we'll be having the ship-to-ship communication with the station?
That's definitely a question for Judd here. We'll let him, he's got the detailed timeline right in front of him.
Yes, it is flight day 6 that the crew will be behind the moon. Let's see, and your other question was ship-to-ship comm. I think we were going to do that on flight day 8 or 9. I don't know where that ended up.
7, I believe.
Yeah, maybe it's on 7. Yep, it's flight day 7.
Okay, let's come here to the one with their hand up. Yes.
Hi, Katrina Miller for the New York Times. How fast will Orion move as it heads to the moon, like the maximum speed? And have the crew members been able to check in with their families yet, or when will this happen?
Okay, so it changes speed as it goes around in orbit. The maximum speed we just experienced at TLI, which was, we started off at 23,660 miles per hour. We added about 867 miles per hour, so that's 24,500, something like that, 24,500 miles an hour. And then as we get closer to the moon will be our lowest speed around the apogee, which is around, I think, 1,300 foot per second. Which I'm not going to do math in public on how many miles per hour that is. But then once we come back to Earth, it gets around that same speed, around 25,000 miles per hour as we get to entering our interface.
And did they talk to their family?
Okay, let's actually come over to this side here in the middle. Oh, and there was the additional question about if the crew has spoken with family yet.
Yeah, I don't believe they haven't had time to talk to their families yet. They've been really busy, so we'll make time for that now that we're past TLI.
Robert Coppinger, British Interplanetary Sciences Spaceflight Magazine. The RCS thrusters on the service module, are they European technology or American technology? And Administrator Isaacman's distance record from one of his 2 space flights, when does integrity beat that?
Well, I would say the RCS, or reaction control system, if you're asking that, that is a European-built system. I don't know about Mr. Isaacman's distance, so I can't comment on that.
I suspect we've already broken
I thought we broke it when we went into the high Earth orbit. When we got out to apogee, we would have already exceeded that.
Okay, was there another question? Second row here, yes. And then we'll go back to a few more from the phone.
Hi, JJ Love with Tech Talk Media. Thanks for taking my question. The viewers of our Inside NASA Innovation series are eager to understand the broader human impact of this mission. So looking beyond the boundaries of space exploration itself, which industries here on Earth stand to benefit most from what you're discovering up there? And what is being learned in the mission that will tangibly improve life for people down here?
Oh, those are some good questions. I think from the industry standpoint, I think there's a whole range of things that we're going to benefit.
I don't think she even knows the answer to this, but those are some really good questions.
Number one, just thinking basically just in our production capabilities within the U.S. and around the world. But I feel certain we're going to be pushing boundaries of technologies as well, not just in the systems that we're flying on the rockets, but even in some of the things we're testing out inside the crew cabin for the crew to use, of the cutting edge of technology. So a lot of amazing things there. And then what was the second part of your question?
There's those damn commercials again. One day, YouTube, I might pay for you. Not today.
Oh, help life on Earth. It's always a wonderful question, and I really feel like the exploration that we do is just inspirational for everyone here on Earth, hopefully inspiring our young people around the world, the Artemis generation that's growing up now to want to grow and achieve and to learn and to start trying to think through where they're going to dedicate their talents as they get older and learn the different skills that we need to cut the edge of new technologies into the future.
Johnson Space Center is in the Houston, Texas area. It's time for us here at Live Now to take a quick commercial break. We'll bring you back out to that press conference in about 2 minutes if it's still going. We'll be right back. This Live Now look is sponsored by AutoParts.com. You can scan their QR code in the bottom corner of your screen. Speaking of Houston, Texas, let's head back out to Johnson Space Center. This Artemis II press conference still in progress. Let's watch.
All right, our next question on the phone is from Christopher Mick with the Hudson Star Observer.
Thank you for taking the question and for all your time tonight. Another amazing day here in the mission. I just want to ask, I think these would be for Jed and Howard. I was wondering, the crew sounded very busy in the time I was hearing the loops today, and I was just wondering on the astronauts' kind of individual task timelines, if they're kind of on schedule for that or falling behind at all or skipping some things. And then maybe to Howard, if there was any time for Earth observation photography, if there's any feedback from the crew on how things are going shooting through the Orion windows.
So I would say there were, as far as the timeline goes, there were a few things that the crew was not able to get to today and yesterday, and that's fine. We knew this was going to be a very, very packed first 2 days, and now once we got past TLI, we got lots more time to do things, and observation certainly is one of those things that the crew absolutely will be doing during their time, and they've got plenty of time now to reflect and do the other operations.
Yeah, I'll say that although, like Jed said, maybe a few things didn't get done in the schedule as planned that can be made up, the real important one for me at least was this prox ops demonstration. I think we budgeted around 71 minutes. The crew finished in 65, and that was awesome because, like I said earlier, we were able to accomplish all our objectives and within that time period because we were having to exit and leave the ICPS distance and move on towards the orbit. So having that done and getting all those objectives accomplished was very significant, and I'm really happy to do it with some margin.
Okay, our next question is from David Denault with About Space Today News.
Good evening. I have a question. Has there been a formal report issued yet on the possible damages caused by Artemis II compared to Artemis I? I understand that it caused some damage to the elevators, and it also burnt through the surface area, scorching it. Has there any report issued on that as yet?
So this is a question related to the potential damage to the Mobile Launcher 1, where we launched yesterday. We've talked many times about the ruggedization that we did to the Mobile Launcher following the Artemis 1 mission. And what I can tell you is that our initial assessment is showing that most of the damage is really largely cosmetic. Really, overall, everything's looking pretty good, especially compared to Artemis 1. We know we're going to have some repairs that we'll need to do, but those repairs that we made following Artemis 1 largely worked, so that's a good thing. We are in the process of doing an in-depth assessment of what kind of damage was received there. We do know know that there were some bolts, some latching bolts that perhaps didn't hold as anticipated, and there was some, I believe, some issues down in the firing well there. But we're still doing the assessment, so hold tight, and we'll get you some more details as we better understand exactly where that mobile launcher is right now.
Okay, Philip.
Hi, Philip Sloss. I guess a quick follow-up with Lori about the mobile launcher. After the first launch, there was a pneumatic leak. You didn't see any issues in terms of the continuity with the pneumatic systems in those lines?
Everything's doing extremely well, actually, yeah. And the water suppression system was able to wash things down, so we didn't have the issues, the concerns with corrosion, the pneumatics. All of the other systems seem to fare extremely well.
Okay. And then a quick one for Judd, hopefully. On the first launch, SLS had a tiny underspeed at MECO, and I know they were looking to make some tweaks so that they would hit the exact targeted MECO. What did you see yesterday during the ascent?
Yeah, as I mentioned, right on the money.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Kaya Burgess from the Times of London. How closely did you study in planning this mission the free return slingshot trajectory of Apollo 13 in terms of the lessons to be learned of what to do similarly or what to avoid, and how different will this trajectory be from the only other time humans have taken that trajectory around the moon and back?
You did.
Okay, so it is slightly different from Apollo 8. Apollo 8 actually went into the lunar orbit, gravity well, right? Orion doesn't have the capability or the propellant to do that, and so we're taking advantage of the gravity to slingshot Orion back around the moon. So it's quite actually in the early design of Apollo. As a matter of fact, Apollo 13 got on a free return trajectory to get it to a minimum energy state so that we could go back to Earth. And so this is more like that trajectory in that we're taking advantage of the moon's gravity as an assist so that we don't have to burn as much propellant.
Okay, that press conference in progress at Johnson Space Center in Texas.
Don't just take classes, take charge. Start your
all those commercials are killer. So we just got down and dirty with that bullshit right there. Nah, I fucks with it. Going to the moon's pretty important, I guess. I mean, it gives us something else to do. Gives us something else to talk about. Gives humanity something else to think about. So I guess the kids will get hope, things like that. But I don't know, man. What is this? Oh yeah, somebody was talking about this Bondi getting booted or whatever.
Phone today, this big scoop about Bondi leaving and Blanche ascending. He wasn't talking about it as a situation where she got fired or she got canned. Instead, he wanted to emphasize that she's going to remain in the fold somehow, just in a different way. And we have been able to piece together a lot of unknowns using some photos and video and some chats with senior White House officials. During this ride in the Beast to and from the Supreme Court yesterday, President Trump and Attorney General Bondi talked about the possibility of her leaving DOJ. So hours later, when these photos were taken of Bondi at the president's address to the nation, she knew what could be coming. Hours earlier, the vice president saluted her and her now temporary replacement.
Let me say thanks to Pam Bondi and Todd Blanche, our Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General, for supporting this mission.
The president says Pam Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much-needed and important new job in the private sector. A senior White House official tells Fox the president has considered making this move for a while, and there were no signs of trouble during a trip last month to Graceland.
You're a big fan of Elvis family.
My mother was, especially.
Also on notice, after President Trump's epic fury address to the nation, NATO partners.
It can't just be that when Europe calls for help, the United States helps. This needs to be a mutually beneficial relationship.
President Trump has informed allies in Europe the U.S. will help keep the Strait of Hormuz open, but only in a supporting role.
Go to the strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy.
Global oil prices spiked during the president's 19-minute remarks, but economic advisors in the West Wing believe price hikes won't last.
The fundamentals of the global energy market are okay. What we're seeing is a temporary disruption because of what's happening.
And tonight, White House officials are going on the record to tell us that Tulsi Gabbard's job as the Director of National Intelligence is safe, despite some reporting online to the contrary. Stephen Chung, the comms director here at the White House, says President Trump has total confidence in Director Gabbard, and any insinuation otherwise is totally fake news. So no other big changes to the president's team today. Brett.
Peter Ducey, live in the North Lawn. Peter, thank you.
He's letting his work speak for itself. But I think the president has admired him for what he's done at the EPA. More importantly, what he has succeeded in doing. That is, you've had a lot of cabinet members that have drawn fire, drawn a lot of litigation.
It looks like we do have an update coming directly from the president. The press secretary just retweeting his Truth Social, saying, quote, Bondi is a great American patriot and a loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. Pam did a tremendous job, says the president, overseeing a massive crackdown in crime across our country with murders plummeting to their lowest level since 1900. We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important
important new job in the private sector to be announced at a date in the near future. And our Deputy Attorney General, and a very talented and respected legal mind, Todd Blanche, will step in to serve as acting Attorney General. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. So a little bit different than perhaps was originally expected, that she would move to another position in the administration. He's announcing she's moving to the private sector.
Yeah, the thing to keep in mind about this is there is no bad blood that any of us are aware of between Bondi and Trump. Now, we can't speak for a relationship, obviously, that we're not part of, but I can't imagine that the president has not found her service to be really the pinnacle of loyalty. And she's literally the first one there whenever trouble starts. She's been criticized for that in terms of her role at the Department of Justice. Now, Todd Blanche, I'm also familiar with. He's a very good lawyer. And he's a no-nonsense guy. And whether he's here on an interim basis or he's being considered for the AG position, he is someone who is also a diehard Trump loyalist, and since he really believes in the president's policies, he believes in the president. He's also someone who sort of cuts through a lot of the noise. He gets these jobs done. And, you know, I think the president would necessarily have to consider him on that short list. You've got two very interesting choices here. What's fascinating about Todd and Lee is that they're both a bit understated. They're two individuals who are often heralded in private among people for what they're able to do to get things moving. It's not that they choose the path of least resistance. There is no path of least resistance in the Trump administration, but they tend to be successful in what they have done.
Todd's put out his own statement now as well, Jonathan. Pam Bondi led this department, he said, with strength and conviction, and I'm grateful for her leadership and friendship. Says Blanche, thank you to President Trump for the trust and the opportunity to serve as acting Attorney General. We will continue backing the blue, enforcing the law, and doing everything in our power to keep America safe. So confirmed on all fronts there.
Yeah, and also the thing to remember about Bondi is she has, we talked a little bit about possible critics even in the GOP on the Hill. She has a great number of fans, including the police unions, the police organizations, law enforcement generally. She's viewed as a lifetime champion of law enforcement. They trust her. And I think that, you know, those groups are going to want to see someone with that same record. But I expect that anyone you'll get in the Trump administration will do that. Like you, I'm a little surprised that she's not moving laterally to a different position, that, you know, the president says she's going into the private sector. But I wouldn't assume that there is bad blood here. You know, the president has a record of personnel changes when he wants to mix things up, try to move things forward. And, you know, he is looking in the next couple years as sort of close combat when it comes to legal issues. These cases are going to increase. If the Democrats take the House, you're going to have really the Democratic leadership come back with a vengeance. They've already said that they're going to investigate anyone who has been a key loyalist to Trump. They're going to impeach him again. All of that has been stated openly by the Democrats if they should regain power.
And you were saying earlier that, you know, if it were to be Lee Zeldin, perhaps, or someone who really understands DC, is that a reason why, you know, President Trump has always liked sort of outsiders, people who sort of are against the old DC establishment, but moving into the next stage, is it because someone would understand DC? Does that seem like a really important connection to have?
I think it is a good connection, because even if the Republicans keep the House, it's going to be razor close, and things are going to get even more aggressive. Zeldin is someone, and I've had the pleasure of meeting him, and I've seen him work in the Congress. He is someone who you just cannot fluster. I mean, it's like just a flat signal coming off that EKG. I mean, he does not really, you know, you don't get him to jump. He's someone who is a very steady hand on the wheel. He's outcome oriented. At EPA, he really sank every shot at EPA. He has had an incredibly successful run there. And I think that the president tends to look at figures like that and ask, I wonder how I can get him to a position to gain even more from his talents. Once again, that's not necessarily a condemnation of Bondi, because I just can't imagine that the president is critical of her performance.
Yeah, well, Jonathan, thank you so much. Would you stand by?
Come on there, it's time.
Let me show you around.
Thank you. We'll pick up the breaking news from there. This just into the Fox newsroom. Pam Bondi has been fired as Attorney General. She was informed last night by the president. This as the Deputy AG, Todd Blanche, will be taking her place. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith. As the news breaks, we'll have more details for you shortly. We'll get straight back to Peter Ducey live at the White House in moments.
Absolutely. Right at the top of the hour now. Big news coming out. I'm Benjamin Hall, and today I'm in for John Roberts, and this is America Reports.
All right, let's get straight to the White House again. Peter Ducey is standing by. Peter, what are you hearing was the main frustration of President Trump's when it came to Pam Bondi, obviously making it very clear that the relationship was still intact, but he no longer wanted her to run the place?
Sandra, I can tell you that I phoned President Trump to ask him, once these reports started coming out, that the Attorney General had been told that her time, it was nearing the end of her time at the Justice Department, and the President said he was preparing some remarks. We think that it is going to be the official announcement about the Attorney General Bondi leaving the Justice Department. She will not be leaving the administration. They are going to find a different job for her. So President Trump thinks that she did a good job. President Trump still likes her, but at this time, he feels like Todd Blanche should be elevated in an interim role. So the plan, at least as of the last couple minutes, and a lot of things are changing, is to name Todd Blanche in an interim role as the country's top law enforcement officer running the Justice Department. We are hearing a lot of different things about why this might happen. We think President Trump will elaborate on that more. But when you talk to people here at the White House, it is very important to them just to reiterate that there's not bad blood right now with Bondi leaving. And we know that she was in the front row at the president's remarks last night during his address to the nation. So she is somebody that he still wants to have around, but he wants Todd Blanche, who has been with the president during some of the hardest times of his political life. When he was dealing with all these many lawsuits during the 4 years in between his first term and his second term, Todd Blanche was right there with him, fighting on the president's defense, legal defense. And now Todd Blanche gets a crack, at least temporarily, as the Attorney General of the United States.
Peter, we were just showing the video, a reminder to our viewers, yesterday when the president appeared at the Supreme Court to hear the government's arguments in his case, he arrived with Pam Bondi.
Yeah, I wonder what they talked about in the car, because that was just more than 24 hours ago. And again, it seems like she and the president still have a good relationship, but she will no longer be his Attorney General.
Yeah, I know certainly just in the last few days, President Trump has praised her and said Attorney General Pam Bondi, he said, is a wonderful person and she is doing a great job. So certainly still support for her there. When you look back at her time as Attorney General, what sort of stands out to you?
You know, she is somebody who was pretty much in lockstep with President Trump on just about all of his legal priorities, but she wound up taking as much incoming as anybody from congressional Democrats. Every time that they would call her before Congress for whatever the issue was, it seemed like she had to be the one that was taking the most incoming. And she never really deviated from the line that folks here at the White House were using. But they want to shake things up. And we expect to hear some specifics about why they want to shake things up. But all that we know at this moment is that the president feels like it is time.
Yeah. And that he informed her last night before the speech. So, Peter, you can obviously hear the media fired up on all sides of you there at the White House. Is the Todd Blanche an interim replacement? Obviously, he's the deputy AG. Or will he step in for the time being? Or is that, do you think, a full-time replacement for Bondi?
I am told that Todd is going to be the temporary replacement, the interim replacement. There are some names that are out there. The New York Times is reporting that Lee Zeldin has talked to the president about the possibility. We know that there are also a bunch of former state attorney generals who are serving as Republicans in the Senate right now. We don't know how seriously President Trump would look at any of them, or if there's somebody from outside the administration, not an elected lawmaker, who the president might like for this. But it is an important job. And the president's going to have some time because he's elevating Todd Blanche, somebody that he has known for a long time, somebody that he really trusts, at least temporarily. And as for what comes next for Bondi, we don't know. But she's not just going home to Florida. She is going to have some other job within the administration. We don't know what that is, and we don't know if she knows what that is, because this is all happening just in the last couple minutes.
Looks like we're getting a little bit more color on the situation through our reporter Aisha Hassi. She says she just spoke with Bondi before you broke the news, Peter. She said she's working right now in Florida filming a child ID kit for abducted children with the NFL. She flew into Tampa this morning, went straight to work. They will share those pictures soon, but no specific comment on the firing. So we'll see what comes from the president here shortly. Peter, stand by with us on the breaking news.
Yeah, thanks, Peter. And for now, let's go to Fox News Justice correspondent David Spunt. Hi, David. What have you heard?
Well, we knew that Pam Bondi, the former Attorney General, was on thin ice for a long time with this administration, though she has a personal close relationship with President Trump. She's known him for years. She was the Attorney General in the state of Florida. He's a resident of Florida. She was his attorney during his impeachment trial in the Senate during his first term. So President Trump and Pam Bondi have a good personal relationship. But we know administration officials were not happy with the way the Epstein files were handled. This is something that has really hurt the Attorney General since she came into office in February of 2025. Just some history there. She comes into office February 2025, and then a few weeks later, in an interview with John Roberts, I believe it was during this hour on Fox News, with John and Sanders, said the Epstein files were on her desk, or the files were on her desk when she was asked about the Epstein files. She later clarified and said that she meant the JFK files, the RFK files, the Martin Luther King files, as well as the Epstein files. But there were so many more questions just about the overall handling of the Justice Department dealing with the Epstein files. And the Epstein files story really never went away from Attorney General Bondi. Over the summer, DOJ put out a release and they said that there would be nothing further warranted from the Epstein files. No charges would be filed. The case is essentially closed. And then Deputy Attorney General, now I guess we could call him Interim Attorney General Todd Blanche, met with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend and co-conspirator, convicted co-conspirator. So the story never fully went away. In fact, Bondi was supposed to testify before Congress in a deposition about Epstein on April 14th, in just a couple of weeks. So she clearly will no longer have to do that. The video on the other side of the screen, as I look right there, that was her on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. That's after coming out of a closed-door briefing with members of the House to talk about the Epstein files. But members of Congress, they were not satisfied with the answers they were getting from the administration, and Bondi ultimately had to answer those questions when she came out and would have had to answer during a deposition. Guys.
David Spun, thanks so much, David. We appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, let's bring in our chief legal correspondent and host of Fox News Sunday, Shannon Bream, is here on the breaking news as well. She joins us by phone. Shannon, your thoughts as we learn more details?
Yeah, guys, I think that there had been such pressure on the Attorney General on so many different fronts to deliver for the president. As David referenced these things, there were a lot of promises coming in about the RFK or JFK files, about Martin Luther King Jr. files, about Epstein, and there was so much pressure that some folks thought she got ahead of what they were able to deliver at the DOJ. That there were times that there were promises that leveled a lot of expectations, and the president had his own expectations. We remember the odd tweet that went out that many people believed was supposed to be a direct message to her, asking about possible cases involving possible political rivals or settling scores, those kinds of things. And the president clearly wanting her to be aggressive on a number of fronts. And maybe that's why some of the promises that she made felt like they were getting ahead of what DOJ was able to deliver. But she's got a long, deep experience in Florida as Attorney General there, and is being known as a very effective prosecutor, but also just very loyal to President Trump. And it may have been at some points that, the selection this time around with a lot of his closest circle was a lot about loyalty. The first time around, he trusted other people. He trusted the experience and the recommendations. He wanted people around him like Pam Bondi, who he trusted to have his back. But I think he felt so much pressure on so many fronts to deliver and felt like she hadn't done it. And maybe this is a time where you look at your poll numbers and you say, how do I shake things up?
All right, you got to stop buying generic Viagra.
Shannon, so Todd Blanche is taking over in an interim position. What do we know about him? What do you think, how different might he be moving forward?
Well, listen, he is a tough litigator, too, and he's been close to the president litigating a number of issues very important to the president in his private life and in other places before he joined the DOJ. He's also someone seen as very hard-charging, very loyal to the president, somebody who may have different experience than the outgoing Attorney General Pam Bondi when it comes to litigation and the ways that he's been linked to the president's legal efforts. He's definitely a President Trump loyalist. There's no doubt about that. So he may pick up this mantle with some tougher investigations and different probing than maybe Attorney General Bondi had done in a way that I think the president definitely trusts him, and so we'll have to see his vetting process now.
What do you think was the final straw here as we wait to hear directly from President Trump about this ousting?
I mean, that's a great question. Attorney General Bondi has been in a number of these very heated Capitol Hill hearings. David talked about this too. And there were times when, there's a lot of pressure on those close to the president when they go to the Hill and they start coming under this really tough questioning. And the president is watching. That's really your audience. And you want to know that you are performing to the level that he's going to be happy with the way that you handle things. And she got a lot of praise from MAGA World for being very combative and being able to stand up and take the incoming and those kinds of things in these hearings. But there's always a lot of reflection after they're there and they're on the Hill. How did they perform? How did they do defending the president's policies? And we know the president had been asking his inner circle in recent days about her and possibly some other people within the administration, was it time for a change, sort of taking the pulse of people around him. And once he does that, many times it turns into an exit path for somebody that he thinks may need a change. But she's been incredibly loyal to him, and I would imagine that he's going to be very complimentary to her. And maybe with Secretary Noem finds another position for her that he may be able to say the better match.
And I suppose, a few weeks ago, Kristi Noem, we moved on, and now Pam Bondi, and some talk perhaps about Tulsi Gabbard at some point. Do you think it's a sort of a redirection, perhaps, heading to the midterms? Do you think President Trump is looking ahead?
Yeah, Ben, I think that's a great question, especially when the polling has been really tough on a number of issues, not only on including the war and the economy, all of those things that people are feeling the daily effects when they go to the gas pump, when they go to the grocery store. Those things weigh on any midterm election. They almost always end up in a severe punishment for the current sitting president. But I think when he looks around at some of these other things that are bubbling there as well, including his overall approval rating, he may feel like, all right, if I'm going to do this, this is the time for a reset. If he's lacking confidence in some particular policy or person carrying out that policy, the midterms are getting closer every day, and there's only so much time to show that you're going to do a pivot, make a big change, and that may have been weighing on his mind.
You're reminded, as we did a moment ago with Peter Doocy, Shannon, that we just saw her yesterday alongside the president as they appeared together at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting there. I saw them, and everybody looked very chummy. It was her along with Secretary Letnick sitting with the president, very dialed in. Obviously, this birthright citizenship, a huge issue for the president, one of his first executive orders, a very big issue for him legally. For him to show up as the first sitting president telegraphed a lot of weight on this argument yesterday. And so they were sitting there together clearly as his top law enforcement officer, as the Attorney General. She was a part of that A-list bench that was there together, and they looked very chummy. At one point, there was actually some passing of notes, and you wouldn't have, from seeing them together in court yesterday, imagined that there was something that there was this close to being in the offing.
We've heard the name Lee Zeldin perhaps suggested as a possible full-term replacement. What do you think Lee Zeldin, what role would he play? How different would he be?
Well, listen, he's also a very experienced lawyer, too, and has had all kinds of different things in his background as EPA administrator. He's tackled regulatory bottlenecks and all kinds of different things. He's somebody, again, that the president very much trusts. He's a loyalist to President Trump, but an experienced attorney as well. And, they're all going to have their different ways that they tackle this particular list of to-do things within the DOJ. But, gosh, the DOJ is endlessly busy. Not only is the administration being sued on so many fronts, so in a way that has just exploded during the first and second Trump administrations, going to court seems to be the very popular way to go after the president's policies. And they know that. A lot of the policies that they've launched, they did so knowing it would go to a legal challenge, and they want that answer on the boundaries of the president's executive power. So there's a lot of incoming, but there's a lot of outgoing as well with the DOJ, litigation with respect to different states, their policies with respect to transgender policies, educational higher ed institutions. So it is an all-encompassing job, this role of Attorney General, that is balancing so many fires essentially to handle and to put out at one time, that whoever steps into this job permanently is going to be exceptionally busy.
All right, Shannon, I'm sure we're going to get a lot more detail here in the coming moments, either directly from the president or his team at the White House. It appears that our reporters, David Spunt and Aisha Hosni, are saying that they still haven't gotten Bondi herself to acknowledge that she has been ousted or even comment about it. So we'll also wait to hear directly from her as well. Shannon, thank you very much.
You got it.
All right,
thanks, Shannon. And thanks, Bill. A lot of feedback from both sides, and as we expect, we know where each side stands on this decision. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
All right, thanks to Bill for that. Let's bring in now Mark Penn, former Clinton advisor and pollster and Stagwell CEO. Mark, good to have you here on the breaking news. First up, your reaction to what we are hearing from the Hill now to Pam Bondi's ousting.
Well, no surprise from the Hill. Republicans giving her mostly mild praise, but raising some questions about the Epstein files, and Democrats trashing her as much as possible, and just using it as a kind of a way to attack the president. So I don't think you're getting anything unexpected here. I think really that the president is most likely doing this now because he thinks he can get a pick through in the Senate, during this time. And of course, the Democrats are going to take whatever pick he makes and try to discredit it and blow up an issue and say how he's politicizing the Justice Department. All of that is just kind of the natural flow of events in Washington these days.
So certainly, I think Democrats attacking the president for this sense, but on the right, and Republicans saying that perhaps this is strong leadership. The President Trump realized there had to be a slightly different direction. He's happy to make that decision when it's required. Do you think that's the decision that was made?
Look, I think probably the Epstein hearings were coming up. Probably it was not a good thing to have the Attorney General have to explain, how that was happening. It seems like from other media reports, the president had been thinking about this for quite some time, and so I think all of those factors came together. I think really, unlike with Kristi Noem, the president made clear here how much he respects her, how there's another job that's going to be revealed at some time, and that she's going to remain clearly in the Trump orbit.
Let's talk who now. Who replaces her? Todd Blanche stepping in as the interim. That confirmed by both Blanche and President Trump himself. We don't know if that's the long-term pick. It's obviously being floated. Lee Zeldin could be one of those names. As we are expecting, we might be seeing and hearing from him live any moment now as he's due to speak at this microplastics conference with RFK Jr. What about Lee Zeldin?
Would be an interesting pick. I think he's generally the kind of pick that I think would go through without a tremendous amount of trouble. As you know, trying to predict President Trump's picks is probably a hazardous profession. I think that he's got a lot of people who he might want to put in as Attorney General. The question is, could they get confirmed in this political environment? And that's something he's going to have to weigh. I don't think he'd have a problem getting Zeldin.
Well, considering he's sort of the man of the moment, he just stepped up to the microphone for this conference there. I don't know. I suppose when he speaks, he could make a comment, but I don't think that's expected, Benjamin.
No, we're going to find out in a moment, as they're sitting down at the moment. But I mean, I wonder, do you think we're looking at this sort of new political chapter at the moment, we're heading into the midterms, there's perhaps changes in DC. Do you think that this decision to oust Pam Bondi is connected to the next few months leading into the midterms?
I just think it was done now because you knew that you could probably get somebody confirmed now, and you had these hearings coming up, about the Epstein files, and apparently he had been disappointed with some of the prosecutions for quite some time. So I think this and plus right now there are other national stories that are a lot bigger with a war going on. So it's not going to become, except for the few hours we spend and maybe when there's an appointment, it's not going to become the #1 story in the nation. The Democrats want to push the point that he's politicizing the Department of Justice. That's going to be their goal, and his goal here is going to be saying no. He's trying to get in the strongest, most professional head of the Department of Justice so that it could continue to reduce crime and make for a more secure America.
All right, Mark Penn joining us on the breaking news. Appreciate you joining us, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also with us, Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor, constitutional law attorney, and Fox News contributor. Professor, it's great to have you on the show at all times. I'm wondering what you think about this. I was talking to Andy McCarthy and Jim Trusty, and the consensus seems to be not overly surprising. Do you share that view?
Well, we had been hearing some rumors about the possibility of this happening. There were also rumors with regard to Lee Zeldin. But the really unknown factor here is whether Todd Blanche is going to be the interim or whether he's really what the president is looking for. I think that while Democrats will view him something as a lightning rod because of his involvement in the Epstein files and their release, I think the president was likely impressed by his press conferences where he really gave no quarter to the media and he stood by the work of the Justice Department. So we'll have to see as this thing plays out what it is that the president is looking for. Zeldin was a steady hand at the tiller at EPA. He produced, which is what this president really demands of everyone. I mean, he has a bona fides of bringing that agency into greater fiscal responsibility and refocusing its attention. So we'll learn very soon, I think, of which way the president is likely to head.
And some professor would even argue that when you're talking about Lee Zeldin at the EPA, not just did he produce, I mean, he's aggressive. You talk about going after some of these environmental regulations and pulling them back. And in place of that, being able to put forth a lot of these energy regulations that the president really, truly loves. So I think that's part of it. When you talk about going after what you want to achieve, Lee Zeldin is a role model for the president in that perspective. Do you agree?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. In fact, I think Lee Zeldin is likely to be the preferred choice among GOP members, particularly senators, because of that record, and also because he's a known item. He cut his teeth in Washington. He knows how the city runs. Keep in mind, Zeldin came awfully close to becoming governor of New York. So this is someone who was able to come close to achieving what some people think is an impossibility. They have a Republican governor now of that state. It shows his crossover appeal that has made him a popular candidate on the Hill.
Yep, from New York. I mean, the youngest lawyer in New York history at one time, at 23 years old, 22 years in the military, lawmaker. I mean, yeah, you talk about bona fides. He's got them. I'm wondering if you're surprised when you hear that Bill Malugin on Capitol Hill is like, hey, the Democratic lawmakers still want to go after Pam Bondi. They want her up on the Hill to testify.
Well, I think that is a factor in who the president selects. The Democrats have been running on the pledge of unleashing an apocalypse. They basically have said they will investigate all of Trump's supporters, not just President Trump. They promised to impeach President Trump a third time and basically to convert the House into a 24/7 investigative unit of everything Trump. That's what the president could be well seeing after the midterms. So the question is, which of these attorney general candidates would be the best hand at the wheel through those choppy waters? Each of them, and there's a larger list than people suggest, have a skill set. You know, Zeldin's aggressive, but he also knows how to resolve fights, but he can end them. But, you know, Todd Blanche is someone who is a serious litigator. He was a top prosecutor. He was a top partner at a top firm. He is someone who doesn't even flinch in a fight. And the president saw that. I saw him in court when I covered the Trump trial for Fox. And I must tell you, I was very impressed. He's not a flashy guy. He's not flashy in court. He's not flashy outside the court. But he's lethal as a litigator. And then you've got other people on the list, like Judge Pirro, who has an association with this network, former judge, a U.S. attorney that I believe the president is delighted with. There are also state attorney generals. So he has a pretty deep bench. The benefit of Todd is that it would be a seamless transition. He could literally just walk across the hallway and take up this job.
Yeah, he very well could. Professor, great to have you on as always. Thank you.
Peter brings up the job done by the former Attorney General Pam Bondi. It was productive. Historic lows for murder rates, 32,000 immigration cases in the first 6 months. 7 of the FBI's 10 most wanted were captured. Over 6,000 child trafficking victims located. 1,700 child predators arrested.
Yo, this is her rap sheet right here, yo. Yo, this is how many bodies she got. Look. This shit crazy. Hold on, wait a minute. All right, so 32,000 immigrant cases in the first 6 months since she was the Attorney General, right? She caught 7 of the FBI's 10 most wanted. But what were those ranks? What were, you know what I'm saying? This is okay. So she over here actually doing something. She found some kids. She arrested some people that were hurting kids and cracked down on some. Okay. It's a pretty clean rap sheet.
And more than 300 human traffickers apprehended. Last Friday, she joined Fox and Friends to talk about the need for tougher laws on citizenship.
Imagine being able to build an app with your...
So all you people that like numbers out there, she got numbers, okay? She got numbers.
We would love to get some tougher laws from Congress on this. We've been talking to some members. But yeah, we can do it. These people, again, went to prison. One of them we're looking at now lied about when they got their citizenship, their naturalization, they lied about their marriage to get in this country. You can't do that. Being a citizen in our country is a privilege. It's not a right.
Joining me now is one of her counterparts in the immigration enforcement effort. It is Border Czar Tom Homan. Tom, thanks so much for being with us here today. I want to get your reaction to the news today. Attorney General Pam Bondi out.
Well, of course, I wasn't in the loop on that, but Pam Bondi, look, we have a close relationship. I have her personal cell phone number. We talk quite a bit. Same with Todd Blanche. I talk to Todd Blanche very frequently to talk about immigration cases, right? Not only prosecuting smugglers and traffickers, but suing sanctuary cities and taking action against agitators that have assaulted ICE agents. So I've got a close relationship with both. I wish Pam Bondi the best, and I think Todd Blanche will step up and won't skip a beat. I think he'll keep that train on the track. We'll keep moving forward.
Although your specific responsibilities don't fall under the DOJ, Tom, as you mentioned, you work hand in hand specifically on immigration. What, if any, changes in priorities do you expect with this change in Attorney General?
I mean, the president already said the priority is immigration enforcement. First of all, we got the most secure border in the history of this nation. Well, that provides more resources for interior enforcement operations, which we plan on doing. We're doing it now. And of course, we've been sidelined just a little bit with the airports. President put me in charge of the airport. I said the airports, and that's worked out very well. But as that ramps down now, we'll put more agents in the field. You're going to see arrests go up. You're going to see more worksite enforcement operations coming. So you're going to see a ramp up in immigration enforcement in this country. That's what the American people voted for, and that's what the president's going to give them.
You bring up an interesting point, Tom. ICE is getting a lot of credit for the work that it's doing at American airports. I personally have experienced it. I've seen the reaction as well from not just those on the right, but those on the left, who've seen the effective job that ICE is doing while DHS is shut down. Is it taking away at all from the priority of enforcing laws against illegal immigration?
Well, of course, it's taken away a little bit because the more resources we have in the airport, less people we have in the street. But in a heightened threatened posture where we've been the last few weeks, it's important we fill those gaps at the airports, right? Because they're a critical infrastructure. We got to protect them. So ICE was there not only filling those security gaps, but doing jobs that TSA officers.
Actually, I want to go back. I want to go back to the stats. Now, I wish they would do this for all of the people that are in office. Show us their stats. Show us what they've done. Show us what they've done. That's what I want to see. I think this should be a thing. Because like football teams and other teams, the Democrats are acting like a team and the Republicans are supposed to be a team. I want stats on all the players. I think we need to do this from now on. This right here, I like this. I like knowing what they actually did. Some of these numbers might hit or miss or whatever, but still, all I'm saying is having stats on each person that's in office, that would really make a lot of difference when we come to vote for these people. You know, because now we can see what they're doing, and now we can see if they're actually going to do the job we hired them to do.
For 6 months, 7 of the FBI's 10 most wanted.
Well, of course, it's taken away a little bit because the more resources we have in the airport, less people we have in the street. But in a heightened threatened posture where we've been the last few weeks, it's important we fill those gaps at the airports, right? Because they're a critical infrastructure. We got to protect them. So ICE was there not only filling those security gaps, but doing jobs that TSA officers were doing that didn't require like X-ray training, right? So if we can take an exit lane and we can check IDs before they get to screening, that puts another well-trained TSA agent on the X-ray machine, maybe open up another line. So it was twofold, right? Moving American people through those airports quicker and providing additional security airports. But look, I'm proud of the men and women of ICE. I went down to Houston myself. I've been at several airports, thanking them, and I see the American people talking to them, and I think it's done two things. Number one, it's something I talk about on Hill in these Senate negotiations, these budget negotiations. They want to talk about masks. Well, they're not wearing masks at airports. Why? Because they're not in that heightened threat environment they have out in the field where agitators cross that line and assault them and dox them. So, they don't want to wear masks either. They're wearing masks out of need, but the airport, in a safe environment, they don't need to wear those masks. That proves a point. The ICE officers aren't wearing masks for the fun of it. They're wearing it for their safety of themselves and their families.
That's a very fascinating point. I've seen those ICE officers at the airport, Tom, and it didn't even occur to me the fact that they weren't wearing a mask. And of course, in that situation, they don't need to wear a mask when they're not interacting with agitators and rioters on the streets. Success when it comes to immigration and immigration enforcement. I want to share these numbers with you. I know you're very familiar with the audience as well. And this is net migration in various metro areas across the country. 95% down in El Paso, 72% in Denver, 67% in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Washington, all down significant numbers in net migration. That obviously, Tom, has something to do with ICE. It has to do with self-deportation. To what do we attribute these improvements?
President Trump and his vision when he came in, that first of all, he wanted to create the most secure border in history of the nation, and we've done that. We beat Trump 45. I mean, Trump 45 was incredible, most secure border then, but we beat that tenfold under Trump 47. And we got to give a lot of credit, Will, to the secure border, the men and women of the Border Patrol, men and women wearing that uniform. I wore that uniform. I'm proud of each and every one of them for standing up and enforcing law, securing the border. But you got to give credit to ICE too, because the whole world is seeing ICE out there operating, enforcing the immigration law. Unlike the last 4 years on the Biden administration, they know there's no free ride here anymore. They know there's no catch and release. They know that if you happen to get by the Border Patrol, we're looking for you. And so when they see the record numbers of arrest and deportations, they're not willing to give their life savings to criminal cartels to come to the border and not be released in the United States, unlike the last administration. So I give ICE a lot of credit for that secure border too. So God bless the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol. They finally get to do their job, because the last 4 years, they couldn't do their job. Morale was in the toilet, and now the men and women are up on the oath they took. And a secure border means better national security, because now we have better control. What's coming in, who's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in.
I want to ask you about Virginia, Tom, and it's interestingly one county in Virginia that seems to be having a very, very difficult problem. That's Fairfax County, where you've had 3 accused killers, all illegal immigrants. One just very recently accused of killing his own baby, a 3-month-old baby, another accused of a fatal stabbing, and another accused of killing a mother. What is going on in Virginia?
Elections. I mean, elections has consequences. I live in Virginia. Spanberger took over, and she moved so far left, she's not even recognizable anymore. Look, in that city, Fairfax, they've been a sanctuary city. I've been complaining about them for years. Sanctuaries are sanctuaries for criminals. And for any politician, like the chief of police or the sheriff, they want to say they're not going to enforce federal immigration law, not their job. They can't honor ICE detainers. They don't think they're legal. We can do the same thing we did in Minneapolis. We can do the same thing. Talk to the sheriffs, talk to the chiefs. Say, if you don't want to honor detainers, I get it. We can litigate that in court. However, there's nothing illegal about you calling ICE before you release them. And we'll be there to take custody. You don't have to hold them 1 minute. Past you will normally hold them on your charges. Just give us a call. It's free. and we'll be there. We'll even strategically locate deportation officers near those jails. That's the success we had in Minneapolis. We got record cooperation there. We can do the same thing in Virginia. But I truly believe they hate Trump more than they care about their public safety, because the common sense approach is call us, and we'll be there and take that public safety threat off the street. We've arrested thousands of public safety threats in Virginia. We had to go out and look for them, which is dangerous for the community, dangerous for the officer, dangerous for the alien. We won't keep doing it, but it's much safer for the community, much safer for the officer, much safer for the alien, because anything can happen on a street arrest. Give us custody in your jail before you release them, and you can see the crime rate drop significantly.
All right. They certainly need it. They need it in Chicago. They need it in Virginia. Tom Homan, thanks so much for being with us here today, Tom.
Hey, thanks for having me.
With us now by phone, Karl Rove, former Deputy Chief of Staff to President George W. Bush and a Fox News contributor. Karl, great to have you on. I mean, you have been in the mix in these types of discussions where people get to stay or go with a different administration. I'm wondering if you are surprised at all about Pam Bondi being out, Todd Blanche, at least for now, being in.
Have you ever wondered how the world's
Saw it coming. I knew it was coming. Damn commercials. That's how they get us, you know?
the Forex market is the
In some ways, I wasn't, particularly after the posting on Truth Social by President Trump, in which we still don't know, was this deliberate or was this a mistake? He was sending a text message to Attorney General Bondi complaining about Epstein, complaining about the prosecutions of James Comey. Was this meant to be public, or was it a private message that got put in the wrong box? But after that, I mean, he was clearly dissatisfied with her performance on Epstein and the James Comey case in the Eastern District of Virginia. So in a way, I was not surprised. I mean, the timing may be unusual, but we don't really know what provoked it in this specific instance, but he'd already signaled very strongly his unsatisfactory opinion of her performance.
Yeah, they're telling me I got to go, Karl, but I want to get your take on the fact that this was apparently in the works yesterday when they were going to the Supreme Court, talked about the very possibility of her leaving. What do you think about that?
Well, again, I mean, this is why everybody's fascinated by what's going on in Washington, and particularly anything connected with the Trump administration. I mean, it's a surprise and a shift and a turn, and it's like a television program with lots of excitement and twists and turns in the plot and new characters being put into the stage. I mean, it's riveting.
Yeah, it is indeed. Karl Rove, thank you. Here now, Jim Trusty, former attorney for President Trump and former DOJ prosecutor. I'm not sure if you heard Peter there, Jim, but he was kind of talking about the fact that there's a possibility that Todd Blanche might remain the attorney general, might be permanently in that position. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad move. I'm not putting money on it because there are so many different names floating around already. But look, I think Todd, he's had a year of on-the-job training as the Deputy Attorney General. That's a great perch, a great position to learn from and to learn how to navigate this giant aircraft carrier full of lawyers called the Department of Justice. And I got to tell you, Trace, my bias, maybe because I'm old and because I was a prosecutor for 27 years, my bias is a little bit towards experience. And I think the president, and very understandably in terms of what he went through with Jack Smith and Alvin Bragg and Fonnie Willis, his emphasis is kind of on loyalty and boldness. And so I think he got a lot of that out of the now former Attorney General. And I think he'd get a lot of that from a lot of people. But I just hope that the merits of experience kick in some too, even though that's probably not given the same credit that I would give it.
Are you intimating here that a person like Lee Zeldin doesn't have the prosecutorial chops for this job, that he's spent 22 years in the military, that he was running his own business, the youngest lawyer in New York at one point in time, lawmaker, but not the prosecution resume that you would hope for?
No, I'm not going quite that far. I mean, look, again, the Attorney General's not the one trying the cases, so judgment is a big part of it. And I think Zeldin, from what I know of the man, has a lot of good judgment, a lot of good life experience. Those are good things. It's just, if you've been inside the machine like I was for 17 years at the Department of Justice, you end up thinking, it could be helpful to have people that know the inside game a little bit. But, the problem is that touches up against the deep state that President Trump, dealt with in some pretty brutal years. So I don't think his instinct is going to be, let's find somebody who has a lot of federal prosecutorial experience. Bondi didn't have federal experience, but she did try cases in Florida, including death penalty cases, and she ran the Attorney General's office. So, my own personal preference is to have some measure of that in the mix, but that doesn't mean they can't be a wildly successful Attorney General.
Stand by one time. Jim, I'm going to put this up on the screen because this is Pam Bondi, her new social media post she just posted this, breaking right now. She said, quoting here, "Over the next month, I will be working tirelessly to transition the office of Attorney General to the amazing Todd Blanche before moving to an important private sector rollout I'm thrilled about, and where I will continue fighting for President Trump and this administration. Leading President Trump's historic and highly successful efforts to make America safer and more secure has been the honor of a lifetime and easily the most consequential first year of the Department of Justice in American history. Since February 2025, we have secured the lowest murder rate in 125 years, secured first ever terrorism convictions against members of Antifa, shattered domestic and transnational gangs across the country, taken custody of more than 90 key cartel figures, and won 24 favorable rulings at the Supreme Court. I remain eternally grateful for the trust that President Trump placed in me to make America safe again." One of the themes we have seen from this Trump administration, which counter to the previous Trump administration, is there has been, Jim Trusty, this sense of loyalty, right? That even with the Kristi Noems taking a different position and Pam Bondi, there is this continued loyalty, no bad blood. In the previous administration, there was a fair bit of bad blood.
Yeah, I think that's a great sign. I'm glad you pointed that out. I mean, when you think about it, the first term, he was new to politics. He was new to Washington. He had to depend on recommendations from folks. This time he came into it really clear-eyed about what he wants from different people in the cabinet and in other positions. And I think it's a very welcome sign. And by the way, everything she said is undeniably true. Like, you can say, oh, this is all self-flattery. No, everything she said in that message is actually factually accurate and a really good thing at a time where the department needed an abrupt change. So I do think a victory lap for her and the president is worthwhile. And I also think it's a good sign that they have kind of the what I think is a genuine loyalty towards each other, even after making an administrative move like this. And I just think that's good for the overall morale of anyone in the cabinet, anyone that serves under President Trump, and it's a reflection of high character on both sides.
Jim Trusty, great analysis as always, sir. Thank you. We appreciate it. Also with us, Andy McCarthy, former assistant U.S. attorney and a Fox News contributor. Andy, great to see you. People I talked to were kind of surprised in the capacity that they really either expected this to happen maybe a month and a half ago, or a couple of months from now if it was going to happen at all. What do you think about the timing of letting Pam Bondi go?
Well, I'm not in a position, Trace, to judge the accuracy of this reporting we're hearing now about whether there was a dispute over the information that evidently the administration is trying to get out about Eric Swalwell, and whether the president was upset thinking that the Justice Department may have tipped the congressman off about that. So we'll have to see how that floats out. If there's anything to that, that may obviously explain the timing. I think whenever you have to move an attorney general, it's disruptive. And all of the talk that we're hearing about, like, who might replace her, my money heavily would be on Todd Blanche being there for a good long while, because anywhere else the president were to go would be equally disruptive. And the other thing you have to bear in mind is, the midterms are coming in November. The Senate is in play. I think the Republicans should hold on to it, but it's no sure thing that they will. It'll be a lot easier. It would be a lot easier to confirm somebody now than it might be, say, 6 months from now. But I still think the disruption that it would cause to move somebody else out to try to replace Bondi when you have Blanche there, I think you leave Blanche there.
Is it kind of what Jim Trusty was saying, Andy? Is it because you have Blanche, you have Todd Blanche, who was kind of with the president through a lot of the legal proceedings that we have seen in the past, and because of his prosecution history, and Lee Zeldin, somebody that doesn't have that same prosecution history, is that part of the reason?
Well, no, I think with Lee Zeldin's an exceptionally capable person, which means if you take him out of what he's doing, which is an important job, then you have that hole to fill. So that would be a problem. I do think Jim is right about how the fact that the president prizes loyalty over other attributes. And obviously that makes things difficult at the Justice Department, because to the extent that lawyers have to be guided by what the rule of law requires, and President Trump, who is a non-lawyer, doesn't always want what the rule of law requires, that's going to put you in a hard spot. I think he trusts Todd Blanche to navigate that because he knows him well. And I do think Justice Department experience matters. When Pam Bondi was appointed, I agreed that she had held a very important legal job in Florida, but the Justice Department is kind of an insular, arrogant place that's very conscious of its culture and its procedures. It's tough for an outsider to come in. It was tough for Attorney General Gonzalez under President Trump, and I thought it would be tough for Bondi. It's just a hard place.
Yeah. Andy McCarthy, great to see you. Thank you for your for your perspective on this. We always appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm really excited.
More commercials. This is old, bro.
Well, let's bring in Trey Gowdy, former congressman from South Carolina, host of Sunday Night in America with Trey Gowdy. Trey, overall, your thoughts of this move, surprising to you?
It was. I actually exchanged text messages with Pam this morning. She was working. She was excited about what she was doing. And if she had any indication today was going to be her last day, I couldn't tell it in the text. I mean, let's be honest, Brett. She inherited a really challenging job in an impossible political environment. She had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. She never visited the island. She's not the one that whiffed on his previous prosecutions. The president really likes her personally. You don't have to be around him long to tell they have a very close relationship. I'm sorry it didn't work out because I like Pam, but Todd, if it is Todd will do a great job, and I know the president thinks highly of him.
She obviously had some dust-ups up on Capitol Hill numerous times whenever she went up there to testify. Here she is versus GOP lawmakers.
I move that the committee issue a subpoena to the Honorable Pamela Jo Bondi to appear before the committee for a deposition regarding the department's handling of the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein.
Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Nobody on our side is defending Pam Bondi. I can assure you.
So is that what built up, do you think, that handling early on of Epstein? I know you say she's not tied to it, but how it was handled early on?
Yeah, but it wasn't just her, Brett. I mean, how many different podcasters and other folks promised us all this information on Jeffrey Epstein? And those of us that actually were prosecutors were sitting there thinking, you've had 3 opportunities. You had Florida, you had Maxwell before she was convicted, and you had Epstein before he killed himself. So where are the co-conspirators? The problem was whenever and it wasn't just Pam, there are other members of this administration that wrote checks with their mouths that the rest of their body couldn't catch. Now, you played a clip from somebody who's running for governor in South Carolina. I mean, why would you subpoena a Republican attorney general when all you have to do is what I did this morning, call her on the phone? So she was a victim a little bit of other people's ambition, like Nancy Mace, a victim a little bit of getting out over her skis. But let's be honest. When did we start releasing files, Brett? I mean, I haven't seen the Matt Gaetz file. Have you? I haven't seen the John Benet Ramsey file. When did we start releasing files?
Fair point. Last thing quickly. What do you think of the next step here, and the position of Attorney General, which the president may have a perception of, but you have a perception of, and also the question of moving prosecutions forward that, the administration would like to see moved forward?
Yeah, Brett, good facts make good lawyers. And if you're getting a no bill, if the grand jury is rejecting an indictment, then you got no chance of winning a trial. Todd Blanche is a real lawyer. He's a real litigator. Lee Zeldin would do a great job. John Ratcliffe, which is not a name you hear, and he will kill me for mentioning his name, but John Ratcliffe would be a great AG. He's got people to pick from. We got to change our expectations of the Attorney General. That's not an extension of a political operation. It should be a serious man or woman who follows the facts, and we got to get the politics out of the department.
Todd Blanche will be on with Jesse tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Trey, as always, thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-host Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to...
All right, we're done with all that. I won't lie, I'm a little tired. So I'm probably gonna end this, but thanks for coming, guys. I appreciate you guys. Last words of wisdom, I guess. Apparently, we can see that this is all political theater. We can see that there's nuance to both sides. This can be debated and argued over constantly. But we need to figure out how to work together to fix the dumb things that have been happening. All right? I'll leave you off with a couple of these, and I'm out of here. Just so you guys know.
I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud.
You already know what time it is. You guys came, thanks for coming. You already know every time we are expounding knowledge and we're feeling good. We're living life, we're positive, and we're loving. We are the ones that they keep saying they want and need.
Get ready.
Checks in the mix where it's hella high. We thirsty, so we snatch your water, go to Jelena. If that shorty is your daughter, she a hella thot. And her mama bombshell in the hella dry. Pop up with my niggas, got that killer cop. Sheriff Joe run up quick, tryna blow my spot. On the road, riding dirty, got a district crowd. Banging ass green grams, wait out on the dock. If Molly coming to the party, Lucy want me to pop. 2C eye to eye, can you see mine's eye? Never mind, let me wine, dine, and dazzle your mind. If you're trying to catch up, then turn up behind. I carried on our date just to kumquat her grape. I got the appetizers and peach sliders for your plate. I kiwi all you palm slices. I got diced fruit for your fade. Okay, enough with your fruity pebbles, loops, or mini chips. We eating on that A1, saucing on them there. We real ones, we go-getters too. Go get those insons, pimps and hustlers, dude. Blowing smoke into the air. Foggy miss while we cruise. I don't play fair, but never break the rules. Smoking cigs and bottle runs. Local banging ass niggas. Bless the bottle, light them up. Got bitches hanging ass niggas. If you can see me now, maybe hating ass niggas. Where you been when I had nothing ass nigga? Don't be coming round now. You can't hold nothing ass nigga. Now I'm up. Here you showing up ass nigga. With or without you, I was finna get it. Just be proud of the fact that one of us made it. PA checks in the mix where it's hella hot. We thirsty, so we snatch your water, go to Jelena. If that shorty is your daughter, she a hella thot. And her mama bombshell finna hella drop. Pop up with my niggas, got that killer cop. Sherry Joe running quick, tryna blow my spot. On the road, riding dirty, gotta dish the crowd. Banging ass green grams, wait out on the dime. If way back when you was with me when I rode, you be here smoking blips with me. Cups hella full, taking sips with me. Nah, I'm out here on the hustle in this industry. Yeah, got my wifey, nuzzle up between the sheets. Kiss her softly, make that wet spot on the sheet. I'm in with my cousin, have another dream. Turn the music up with a blip of the street. The money stack rising, the money's like a hit at the peak of the day. High noon, it gets way too hot to play. Seriously, the time to get paid is all we get. Getting this day out with the ass with the 2 pieces. Knocked out KO, got that 2-piece. Eat this, kind this. You niggas that's hungry for beef, eat this. Fucking with me is a dream. Y'all niggas sleepless. If I had you on the scale, y'all niggas weightless. On the corner with the pill, hands out. Y'all niggas shameless. Roll up to your spots, burn y'all niggas faceless. Talking all that shit. To bullets, y'all niggas nameless. To SAZ rollers out here, y'all niggas ain't shit. PA checks in the mix where it's hella hot. We thirsty, so we snatch your water, go to Jelena. If that shorty is your daughter, she a hella thot. And her mama bombshell finna hella drop. Pop up with my niggas, got that killer cop. Sheriff Joe running quick, tryna blow my spot. On the road, riding dirty, gotta dish the crowd. Banging ass green grams, wait out on the dot. Grand New Entertainment, go ahead, baby. I got some questions I need to ask myself. Really need to ask myself. I just don't even know anymore. What do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go? Who do I really want to be? Yo, what do I really want to do? Where do I really want to go? Who do I really want to be? I try to do the right thing all the time. I'm like a hero online. Shit, I come through, save lives all the time. Bust out with the heels and now everybody living life at full health. I'm on, bro, I'm getting that wealth and I'm trying to put everybody else on. I got the belt, the champion. Every time you see me running in the zone, playing in the game, always in the zone. And when we got the home field, you know we insane. Shit. Hit me on my phone and you know I'm hopping on the next plane. You know what's up. Shit, let's hit them up. Party over here, then we party over there. Come back to the crib, kick it with the kids. That's just how I live. Family biz. This is how we go. Rolling back and back and forth from coast to coast. This is how we go. Back and back and coast to coast. This is how we go. All over your city. Going back to back and we coast to coast. All over your city. Zoom, zoom, zoom. With my boom, boom, boom. Got a new one of those neat. Damn, oh shit, it's neat. Damn, unique. Damn, it's neat, unique, neat, chic. Oh shit, that nigga complete. Never see defeat, then I'll erase a nigga delete. Gone. Run this shit. All the way track meet, boy. You know we be doing this shit. Back at home, it was all legit. Everybody so fitted up and we be sick. Glistening like diamonds, a motherfucking trick. Yeah, we ain't even got a trick, know what I'm saying? But it's like a magician, straight illusion. Nah, nigga losing, straight cruising in my Zoomer, nigga. Yeah, I'm pushing, zooming through the traffic, bopping and weaving, attacking, knocking niggas, no sleeves. Damn, how you act? It's too high in this bitch. bitch, let's get it crackin'. Arizona, hey, checks, you already know. You know we on them. Who's next? Everybody in a row. Straight Q shot. Oh my God, nigga, yeah, you lose a lot. 50 cal, long shot. Oh damn, heart stop when a nigga go blam blam. I don't give a fuck, brains everywhere, going ham. Oh, what do I really wanna do? Where do I really wanna go? Who do I really wanna be? Man, what do I really wanna do? Where do I really wanna go? Who do I really wanna be? Man, shit. Already knew that. Brand new entertainment. Damn, yeah, that free flow is for real. Entertainment, baby. Can you copy that shit? Going ham in this bitch. Hey. Yeah. Money in these checks. What's next? What's next? What should I do? Tell me what should I do? What should I do? Getting money in these checks. What's next? What's next? What should I do? Baby, what should I do? Checks. Money in these checks. What's next? Tell me what should I do? Baby, what should I do? Baby, all this money and all these checks. What should I do? Baby, what should I do? Yeah, I'm getting this money so much. I'm tripping cause I gotta spend so much. Can't hold it because then they coming for it. If I stockpile, I can't afford it. Damn, that's fucked up. They take all the money that you making, bruh. If you ain't spending that shit, damn, that's the time you taking. So I guess they want us to throw it back in society so we don't break it. Smash that shit. So if I wanna buy some shit, I guess I gotta get taxed on all of it. Unless it's low key. Black market is somewhere my homies be chillin'. So you know we be dealin'. You know me. Money in these checks. Tell me what's next. What should I do, baby? What should I do? All these money in checks. What should I do, baby? What should I do? Tell me. Getting all these monies in checks, baby. What should I do, baby? What should I do? Getting all this money in checks, baby. What should I do? Tell me what should I do? Money, yeah, it's always on my mind. Cause I'm counting on my mom, counting all the time. Damn, I just amounting to something that I didn't even have in mind. Now I gotta keep going and leave the whole world behind. Something like I'm Joe Beso. Just trying to kick back, damn, these pesos keep stacking back to back, that's for sure. I don't even know where to spend all of this dough. Shit, guess I gotta stockpile on my stock shit. I'm obnoxious and I'm feeling nauseous. Cause all this money coming now, a nigga feeling, oh shit, stop it. Money ain't everything, I know it. Tell me what should I do? Money and all of these checks. Tell me what do I do? All of these dollars when I'm getting all this money and all these checks. Tell me what should I do? What should I do with all this money and checks? Baby, what should I do? Getting money and checks, baby, what should I do? What should I do? Baby, what should I do? Getting all this money and checks, baby, what should I do? Tell me what should I do? While I'm getting all this money in checks, baby, what should I do? Baby, what should I do? While I'm getting all this money in checks, tell me what should I do? Baby, what should I do? Yeah, you should know who it is by now, right? If you don't, you need to go look into my past. I got so many of these things. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Got a new car, now I'm flying. Brand new entertainment, baby. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Free flow off the head, baby, yeah. I'm flying a plane. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Copped a new car, now I'm flying a plane. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Copped a new car, now I'm flying a plane. Well, you know how the game go. Always make a move, bro. Money on my mind, so you know I'm never going too slow. Gotta catch up to my dough. Can't let time slip away. Rolex on my wrist. Still, oh shit, nigga got that new kid. Oh, damn, just got a click too for my new blam. You know what's up when a nigga come through with that stick going ham. I ain't trying to do it, but nigga got to prove it. Cause everybody acting like a nigga wouldn't do it. Since I started the game, legendary my name. And I copped a new car. Now I'm flying the plane. Career was always in my sight, so I see it clear, and then you know I'ma fly to my next destination, cause driving taking too long, man. I gotta save time. Since time is money, I'm finna stay rich cause I'm young. Well, I'm 33 and I'm still looking 20 like dumb. Oh, everybody on a nigga like Top Gun, so when I bust out my pistol, you know I'm shooting off some. No, I'm silly, yeah, I get really silly, giddy, gritty, a nigga greedy, so damn, I greet them and I go, I ain't even trying to wait on niggas cause they be moving too slow, so let me go around cause you know that sound when I come through, bam, bam, a nigga down, ham, all day, you knew who it was, so get it up. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Copped the new car, now I'm flying them planes. Since I started the game, legendary my name. Copped a new car, now I'm flying the plane. Going ham.
Damn, this shit exclusive.
My little homegirl put me on, she said, this shit brand new, free flow. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been spitting like they ain't got a heart. Because when I step to the game, I rip that shit apart. My evolution with the Gyarados from Magic Carp, and I ain't finished shopping till the whole world is in my cart. When you fucking with me, you choose a role and play your part. Beneficial functionality and strategize it smart. With motion through reality, always feel this hard. Only if the universe keeps dealing shitty cards. I'm trying as hard as I can against all of the odds. Pushing as hard as I could is what got me so far. But what are my chances of actually reaching the stars? Still, I will never get up tatted over my heart. Never keep my senses heightened and my weed up in the jar. Sexy Middle Eastern looking ass like I'm Jafar. When it comes to the game, I'm an eagle, you're par. Please don't get to slipping, I'ma catch you off guard. While you chillin' in the crib, got your chick in my car. Every time you hear it tripping like that shit sounds bizarre. Your favorite rapper try hard, still is a mark. Still light the fuel to the game, watch it spark. My lines burn like blunts getting smoked in the dark. Hella cooking shit up if your ass wanna spar. Barbecue your beef up like the seats in my car. Cool yourself off refrigerator and jar. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part.
Damn, this shit exclusive.
My little homegirl put me on, she said, this shit brand new, free flow. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been spitting like they ain't got a heart. Because when I step to the game, I rip that shit apart. My evolution with the Gyarados from Magic Carp, and I ain't finished shopping till the whole world is in my cart. You fucking with me, you choose a role and play your part. Beneficial functionality and strategize it smart. Motion to reality, always feel this hard. Only if the universe keeps dealing shitty cards. I'm trying as hard as I can against all of the odds. Pushing as hard as I could is what got me so far. But what are my chances of actually reaching the stars? Still, I will never get up tatted over my heart.
If you are not here
to
hear something that's outside of your own mind and accept others' minds and opinions and the way they think for themselves, you do not belong here. And finally, if you are not trying to be positive, if you are not trying to help create solutions while we discuss the problems and how they got here, you do not belong here. Negativity, hate, disrespect, name calling, those things will not be allowed here on this planet and not in this empire. We are the ones, the true Americans, that want to be free and stand as we have always stood.